YouTube. No new testimony or new applications to be heard after 9:30 p.m., and the meeting will adjourn at 10 p.m. sharp. Also, formal action tonight may or may not be taken on the applications being heard here. Adequate notice of this meeting was provided in the New Jersey Herald. It was also posted on the Sparta Township website and its bulletin board in accordance of all provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. It's the practice of this board to salute the flag. Please rise and join us. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll, Marissa.
Michael Joseph.
Here.
Richard LaRufa.
Here.
Michael Leondi.
Here.
Richard Rohrbacher.
Here.
Jennifer Panaha.
Here.
Michael Steinberg.
Here.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Here.
Glenn Keats.
Also have one announcement to make tonight in regards to our board attorney, Glenn Keats. He's over here. Glenn was one of the recipients of the NJPO award this year, and that's the New Jersey Planners Official. And also, they have a brief statement on Glenn's experience, which I'd like to read into the record. With decades of devoted service to the NJPO, Mr. Keats has been a driving force behind the organization's mission to support local officials and land use professionals. His leadership extends beyond advisory roles. He has been instrumental in shaping the resources of many municipalities that rely on him every day. Among his most notable achievements is his authorship of the Guide to Planning and Zoning Boards of Adjustment, a cornerstone publication that has guided countless officials through nuances of their responsibilities. Additionally, Mr. Keats' longstanding editorial stewardship of the Municipal Land Use Law publication has ensured consistent, accurate, and accessible updates to one of the most critical legal frameworks in the New Jersey planning. Congratulations again, Glenn.
Thank you.
We have one resolution to be memorialized. Application 1-25, Louis Peralta, 20 Morris Lake, on D variance, which was decided on September 10, 2025. I'll make that motion, and do I have a second, Jennifer?
Second.
Any discussion, Jennifer?
No.
Thank you. Marissa, please call the roll.
Jennifer Panaha.
Yes.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Yes. The applications on the agenda tonight are the following. Application 6-23, Elite Truck and Tire, 409 Woodport Road, for D1 use variance and bulk variances. Storage of tires and trailers and tire recycling are not permitted in that zone. And that was carried from our 6/11/25 meeting with additional notice. Application 7-25, 66 Woodport Road, for D1 use variance, since billboards are not permitted in that zone, and that was carried from our August 13th, 2025 meeting with no further notice. Also, application 10-25, Hella Properties Partnership at 11 and 12 Main Street, for D1 use variance, since a use and principal structure is not permitted in that zone. Also, bulk C variances, and the application is for a fitness studio. The last application will be carried to the November 11, 2025 meeting with no further notice required. It's the Thomas and Kathleen Nuta application, 22 East Shore Trail in Lake Mohawk, for C variances. After the applications are heard tonight, I'll open the hearing to the public for any questions or comments you may have on items not on the agenda tonight. Elite and Truck and Tire, come forward, please.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the board. My name's Richard Skolnick. I have my own law firm. I'm representing Elite Truck and Tire, LLC. And as I think you all know, my client was originally represented by Mr. Aller back at the June hearing. He had a conflict, and I've now stepped in to continue the matter. If it's okay, Chairman, I'm going to take a few minutes to try to get us back into it and then tell you what I'm going to try to accomplish tonight. Is that okay?
Sure, let me just explain our format here too, Mr.
Sure.
Skolnick. After you're finished presenting, and your professionals presenting your applicant's application, our board professionals, Mr. Simmons and Ms. Knight, will give their reports. After they're finished, our board members who have questions and comments will go next. After we're finished, I'll open it to the public. Okay?
We're here to address the issues for sure. If I may, Chairman, I'm just going to hand out an exhibit that was previously marked in June. This is just a copy, just to orient the board a little bit.
What was it marked as, Rich? A1?
This was A1.
And Mr. Skolnick, too, is that how you pronounce your last name?
Skolnick, too many letters in there.
Just for the public, too, as you know, it's a D variance. You'll need 5 affirmative votes to approve it. If it is approved, of course, it's tied to the land in perpetuity. And please proceed. How can we help you?
And everybody here tonight is eligible to vote, is that right? Okay, great. I just want to make sure that Mr. Skolnick knew that we also.
Mr. Keens and I have been on many panels together. I certainly know that we need 5 votes for a D. So the address is 409 Woodport Road, identified as Block 2004, Lot 1. Back in June, you heard testimony from my client, Jose Zometa, Fred Stewart, the civil engineer, was here, and Matt Flynn. Then, Chairman, there were some questions and comments from members of the public, but you didn't finish up with the public comment period. On August 13th, Mr. Stewart's office submitted revised plans with a detailed letter addressing many of the issues in the April 4 Pello review letter. And we also submitted a report from Eric Keller, a traffic expert. He submitted some vehicle turning plans and templates to address some of the concerns that had been raised by the board and members of the public about truck circulation to confirm that it's safe, ingress and egress issues. There were concerns about site distances. There were concerns about the truck route, and I'm going to have Mr. Keller as our first witness to address these issues in a little more detail. Mr. Keller's report also refers to some DOT traffic studies that were done a few years back. So we have some overall approximations of the car and truck traffic in the area. He's going to discuss that. Chairman, I'm going to note that Mr. Stewart had some surgery yesterday. He reports he's doing well, but he was not able to testify tonight. So Mr. Keller's also a civil engineer. The changes were relatively minor, so we've asked Mr. Keller to review those plans and go through those relatively minor plan changes as a substitute engineer. In the interim months, we also hired a fire expert, and he had conversations with your fire officials, and they were out in the field. And we now have Mr. McIntyre's September 29 memo. And he says, quote, "There are no issues or concerns with the proposed operation as related to the NJ Uniform Fire Code." So we're happy to report that we believe we've complied with or satisfied in substantial part the concerns of the fire officials. So, Chairman, after Mr. Keller, I'm going to put my client back on just for 5 minutes to sort of recap what the operation is that's proposed. We'll do the same with the planner ultimately, Mr. Flynn. As you noted, I've re-noticed for the hearing, and I just want to set the table for the board about what we believe to be the minor nature of the application. I wouldn't term it as a recycling facility. This is really a transfer place for the tires. You heard some testimony. The tires are going to come in SU, single unit 30 trucks. My client has 3 of them. And then the tires are going to be transferred into the larger tractor trailers, but the tires will not be outside. The two trucks back up against each other, and the tires will not be outside. There's going to be no storage of tires. Everything is going to be inside those trucks. I know everyone here knows we all pay a recycling tax. There's a requirement that tires be recycled, and my clients have basically created a business to solve the problem of picking up the tires from all those individual tire stores. Again, the tires never hit the ground. They don't go outside. They're not stored outside. The larger trucks leave the site only 3 times a week. Only 3 times a week. So we're talking about one large truck coming off of that property fewer than once a day. That was the testimony. We're going to do a quick summary of that. We're also located in the ED zone, which permits warehousing and it permits manufacturing and fabrication. So the governing body clearly contemplated some degree of truck traffic on this site because a warehouse would be permitted. We're going to suggest to you that the use of this site for one truck 3 times a week is consistent and actually less intense than other permitted uses on the site. Chairman, finally, there's one issue that I'd like to really discuss forthrightly with the board and address it with you because I sense from reading the transcript that there was a concern. Obviously, the board's concerned with what's proposed, this transfer of the tires. But I sensed also that the board is also concerned about what this use could become. Could it change into, over time, could it morph into a junkyard? Could it morph into outdoor storage of tires? And I'm going to suggest to the board that this can be controlled with conditions of approval. Of course, if appropriate, and if the board hears the testimony and thinks that the use can make sense, we do. We think it's a good property. It's a suitable property in our parlance. We think it's a suitable property for what's proposed and that the board can impose conditions that can prevent those problems that I think folks are reasonably worried about. Outdoor storage of tires, because that's not proposed here. A junkyard, repair trucks, a whole series of other things that my client does not want to do and is prepared to agree to conditions. So what I've done is created a list for the board's consideration. I'm going to mark it as A2. I called it proposed conditions of approval, and I'd like to hand that out.
I think maybe, did everybody get, I think already people got copies. But maybe you ought to put it if there's any public here, Rich.
Do you have them too,
I
Mike?
don't have it
You
with
don't
me.
have them?
Have it.
Oh, all right.
Does everybody,
I'll take one.
I'll
Rich,
take
we
one.
need a couple of these, I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
Okay,
Yeah.
they'll
Yes.
tell you who needs them.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have it already.
I don't want to be,
Have it, but
we know we have to meet our proofs. We know we have to meet our proofs, but, and this is something ultimately for the board in a resolution, but these are, I think, some excellent concepts to allow a use that serves recycling and that can be contained, but not turn into that other thing that the board is reasonably concerned about. Again, just some suggestions on how to ultimately control, and we're a board of adjustment, and conditions obviously are appropriate under this circumstance. So, Chairman, I thank you for allowing me to go on a little bit long, but it's been a couple of months. I took over the case, so I wanted to sort of bring it to you. We have Mr. Keller for the traffic testimony, a little bit on the civil engineering, and then a quick recap by my client just on the use, and then a quick recap on the planner.
Good.
Okay, so I'm going to call Mr. Keller.
Glenn, do we have to
Oh,
swear him in?
especially.
Okay. Um,
Eric,
Thank you, Mr. King.
Okay. Eric, I'm just going to remark your report as A. Glenn, do we need to mark the,
Eric, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
I do.
Who are you?
Eric L. Keller, Keller, Vice President with Bowman Consulting Group, 6 Campus Drive, Parsippany, New Jersey.
You're a licensed professional engineer, and what else?
I am a licensed planner, but I am not testifying as a planner this evening. My area of expertise in civil engineering is traffic engineering. I appeared before this board in the springtime, and I have appeared before many boards.
Oh, okay, you appeared before the board. Does the board remember him?
Vaguely.
I do.
You're not as instantly forgettable as you think.
I
You got a
think that's
vaguely-
a good position, that I did not stand out.
Vaguely, Eric.
Yeah,
Is the
I
board
got-
satisfied with Mr. Keller's
Any
qualifications?
questions from the board?
No.
We're satisfied, Glenn. Mr. Cullen, please speak directly and clearly into the microphone, since it's a state requirement that we have a recording of all proceedings.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Which plan do you want me to put up first, the site plans?
why don't we do the site first?
Okay.
And then come to the traffic. You'll do the traffic.
I'm gonna put,
What are we gonna mark besides?
these are the plans that were submitted to the board.
We're not gonna mark it.
So these are plans prepared by Stewart Surveying and Engineering LLC. There are 4 sheets. They are last revised August 12th of this year. And these were submitted as part of the application.
Okay,
And they are not marked or noted in any fashion.
and you obviously spoke with Mr. Stewart a couple of times,
Yes.
and you reviewed the plans, even though they weren't prepared by your office. You're familiar with the changes that were made.
Absolutely. We work together. Obviously, I'm kind of new to this application along with Mr. Skolnick. I brought in to really handle traffic. As part of that, we reviewed the site plans, worked with Mr. Stewart, because the truck maneuvering plans that were prepared by my office based upon the site plans that Mr. Stewart prepared. So we worked collaboratively on those. So there were a couple things that we wanted to go over. And just for the record, I do have Mr. Simmons' latest memorandum dated September 4th of this year, which was a review letter of these plans. To go through, and certainly when we get to the appropriate time, Mr. Simmons and everybody will ask me whatever questions that I didn't cover or that I didn't answer thoroughly enough. The existing pavement on site, as Mr. Simmons indicated, has deteriorated. That pavement is going to be repaired and then resurfaced. That is noted on the plans. We are requesting a variance for the height of the fence. 6 feet is permitted. We're asking for 8 feet. Mr. Flynn will talk about the planning reasons for that. From an engineering perspective, we selected an 8-foot fence because what we're trying to do is to minimize the view of the trucks and vehicles parked on site. There is a limited window to see into the site. There are wooded areas along Woodport Road and also along the Route 15 southbound ramp. So that limits the views into the site. And then, of course, the building, the trucks are going to be parked to the side and to the rear of the existing structure on the property.
On the plan, can you show the board where the fence is going to go? And just talk about the grade changes and about whether that the tractor trailers, the 2 trailers are going to be seen.
I'm going to go to sheet 2, which is the layout plan. The existing building is shaded in. These other 3 shaded areas are areas that are being created, planter areas that are proposed that will have landscaping and river rock in them. The fence runs from the north is to the
Excuse me,
top.
Mr. Keller, the public, can you see maybe if you could turn it around a little so.
I'm
the
I'm
public-
trying to reach a balance between the board and the public. I mean, people can come up on this side, because if I turn it that way, then you
Eric,
can't.
Eric, they get it, just go.
Okay, thank you. So north is to the top left. So the planted area to the west of the existing building, there's a fence with a 20-foot wide gate that runs from that planted area to the corner of the existing structure. And from the southeast corner of that structure, in a southerly direction towards the Route 15 ramp, there is another fence and gate, also 20 feet in width. The trucks, the single unit trucks are going to be parked in the southeast corner of the site. And then the tractor trailers, 2 tractor trailers, are noted to be in the northwest corner of the site. So the topography of that area where the tractor trailers are, which are the bigger vehicles, is about 8 feet lower than Woodport Road. When you come into the site, that parking area north of the building drops down quite a bit. So an 8-foot, from a driver's eye at 3.5 feet to an 8-foot fence, that sight line is going to be over those trucks because they're also sitting down low. The trucks in the rear are a significant distance off of Woodport Road. That area is about at the same grade as Woodport Road where you come in. But again, driver's eye to an 8-foot fence, most of that you might see the top of the truck, but it's tucked off into the corner. So it's really only traffic that's headed south on Woodport Road that may catch a glimpse of it when they, see it be past the building and into the site.
So let's just go over that for a second. The 2 proposed trailers, they're going to be on the left side on the
Correct.
drawing to the north.
That's
But-
correct.
But we got an 8-foot proposed fence there.
Yes,
And we included a picture of that in Mr. Stewart's report. We added it here, but if you have Mr. Stewart's report, that's at the back. I could mark this if we don't mind. This is the planner's exhibit. Is that okay?
The pictures you passed out tonight.
That's A1. That was marked in June.
All right, so what you're talking about is not part of A1.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is gonna be marked A2.
Part of some photos the planner put together, but it shows the same fence that's attached to Mr. Stewart's letter.
Right. Mr. Flynn will testify to the authenticity of these. Why don't you
Yes.
just stand up quick? It's just, we're kind of dealing with this out of order a little bit.
Understand you're still on the road?
Rich, I'll take care of it. Let's just get him to a mic. Matt, you can use that. Matt, just identify yourself for the record.
Yeah, Matt Flynn, professional planner.
You testified on this application before, and you were sworn in at that time, correct?
That's correct.
And you were qualified as a licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey, and your license is valid still as of tonight.
Yes.
Did you take, or are you at least familiar with the photos that council just handed out?
I believe that, so that photo, as council mentioned, is from the engineer's letter that was that was submitted as part of the application. I believe that is an example of the type of fence that we
All
would be
right, all I want to
proposing.
ask is, you're familiar with it to some extent? They're not photo enhanced or anything else, and they accurately represent what we're talking about. And the second page has some trucks on it, and the third page has some inside the trucks with tires. And I guess we'll get some testimony once we get the owner up on those.
Yes,
But at least we
simply-
can make a proffer that that's what these show, okay?
Yeah, simply put, pages 2 and 3 were taken by the applicant, just showing the nature of the operations.
You can go back to your chair.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, Counselor. So Chairman, I just want to try to, for a second, bring out this point. Eric, there's going to be this proposed 8-foot fence and an 8-foot drop behind that. In your view, looking at the site, driving around there, you think the tractor trailers are going to be quite difficult to see?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I've driven by this site many times. I live in Andover Township, so I'm familiar with the area. I'm familiar with the site. Came by there tonight, as a matter of fact. So it's from a lot of experience. Another change that we made, the plans previously had shown 6 spaces for single-unit trucks. The applicant, and he will testify briefly on this, currently operates 3 trucks. We have made a provision on the plan to have 4 trucks, 4 truck spaces. Right now, they only have 3, but we wanted to make an allowance. So that's a reduction of the prior plan where we had 6.
Okay, and these trucks, these are the smaller trucks that go pick up the tires.
Correct.
Okay, and just point that out again where that's going to be.
The 3 of them are in the southeast corner of the site. The 4th one is next to the tractor trailers, which again will sit down low. And that truck, if there was a truck parked there, would never be seen because the tractor trailer would block the view of that truck. In discussing this with the applicant, I had numerous conversations with the applicant. They're running 3 trucks. Each truck has a driver and a helper. So there's 6 employees when they're running those 3 trucks. Not everybody drives. Generally, they carpool. So there would be, on a given day, Monday through Friday when they work, there would be 3, maybe 4 cars if somebody, needs to drive by themselves. So there's only a handful of cars to bring the employees to work. Once they get to work, they park their cars, they get into the single-unit trucks, drive and pick up the tires, and then they come back, transfer the tires directly from the single-unit truck, and that's in Exhibit A1. The single-unit truck backs up to the tractor trailer. They transfer them from the small truck into the large truck. And I'll talk more about that when I get into my traffic testimony. I mentioned before the 3 landscape beds that are proposed. We are proposing not to curb them. We're proposing they'll be landscaped, and there will be river rock in there so that those areas will be stable. Any runoff that way, we're not diverting runoff into areas where it doesn't go. It will sheet flow into the river rock and disperse through that river rock and continue to maintain the flow patterns that exist today. The light fixtures the color temperature of the light fixtures has been reduced to 3,000 Kelvin. That is a very kind of daylight, not a bright white light, so it's a much more natural light. The plans were also revised to increase the width of the gate. It was originally 16 feet, now it's 20 feet, and they did add bollards at the gas meter, which is on the northeast side of the building. That gas meter is already there, but we placed bollards in front of that to protect that. To allow for emergency services personnel to get in there if the gates are closed. Each gate will be provided with a Knox box that will allow fire, rescue, police to get into the rear area if there is a need to do so. As far as there is no approvals needed from the NJDEP land use group for these improvements because all of the improvements are within existing paved areas or otherwise disturbed areas. As Mr. Simmons has indicated, there are regulated areas on and adjacent to the site as far as wetland transition areas, riparian zones, and so on, but none of the work is in areas that aren't already disturbed, so no approvals are needed for that. And I believe, did I get everything in Dave's letter? Just one point. Want to confirm the original plans had shown area for forklifts. They have no need for forklifts. They never intended to use forklifts. And we have removed that from the plans. And I think that covers everything on that.
Those are the site plan
Those are the
amendments.
site plan revisions, correct. Again, fairly nominal in nature. So I prepared a traffic memorandum. It's dated August 12th of this year. And what we went through to put this together was, as I said, a number of conversations with the applicant, the operator of this business, visits to the site, observations made by myself of site distance, measurements on the plans, and we also prepared a truck maneuvering plan, which I will get to in a minute. As I indicated, they're currently running 3 trucks. Each truck has 2 employees within it. They have a lot of customers, and the applicant will discuss this further. They have a lot of customers in Sussex County. And having a facility in this location will help facilitate that business of picking up used tires that the tire shops and the gas stations have to get rid of. As Mr. Skolnick indicated, we all pay a tax or a fee when we get new tires to get rid of the old tires and get rid of them in a environmentally conscious way. So they pick up the tires, the employees come in before 7 o'clock, generally around 6:30. They come in, plan their route, have their routes, get their assignments. They go out about 7 o'clock and drive around, pick up the tires from all of the shops. They're generally back to this facility. Their trucks are full by about noontime. As I said, the single unit trucks back up to the tractor trailer, tail to tail, and they just transfer them from one truck to the other. The tractor trailers, when they're full, leave to a disposal site. They have one in Lakewood, New Jersey, and they have another one in Pennsylvania. And where it is in Pennsylvania escapes me, not really important. And 2 to 3 times a week, depending on how many tires they've picked up, those tractor trailers are going to leave this site, generally between 1 and 3, because, they don't want to be in traffic either. And they have a fairly long drive to get to either Lakewood or to Pennsylvania. So they're leaving, again, all off-peak hours to travel to those locations. Now, we all know there's a concrete median in Woodport Road. This section of Woodport Road has 2 lanes going northbound with a concrete median. That limits the movements into and out of this site to right turns. So if you're coming from Sparta to get into the site, you have to go up to the Blue Heron Road interchange, make the loop, and come back. If you're leaving the site, you have to drive north on Woodport Road. Woodport Road is a state highway. It's designated as State Route 181. So they're using a state highway to travel north to the Sparta Avenue jug handle. That jug handle and then Sparta Avenue is still a state highway. They will then, and this is all shown on the figure on the last page or the 4th page of my report, which is just a Google Maps designation. I picked the site as the origin. Boy, English is a second language. And then some point down on Route 15. And I just showed the area. So
Can you put that up on the board, or if we don't have it?
I'm a little confused. Eric, was this, or Rich, was this part of the application? Or do you want this marked into evidence, counsel?
Part of the application documents, we submitted it,
You submitted it as part of the application, because we received it on August 14th, so.
not the original application, but.
But the subsequent, okay, that's fine, so we don't need to mark.
I was not hired until later in the process.
But you prepared this, and this is your report, right, Eric?
This is my report.
Okay.
The report by Bowman. It is digitally signed on the front cover.
Got it.
by
Okay,
myself.
we're good.
So,
So could you just go over that route again? And the concern from the board from back in June was trucks on local roads. And we've established that the larger truck is 3 per week, not even 1 per day.
correct.
And you, as a traffic expert, traced out the route, and that's what you're trying to show.
Correct.
Okay, can you
So-
just say that again?
From the site, which is located in the bottom right corner, they travel north on Woodford Road, AKA Route 181. They take the jug handle up Sparta Avenue, again, still Route 181. They make the right onto 517 County Road, and then they enter onto State Route 15 and head south and go on to either Lakewood or Pennsylvania.
So no local roads?
No local roads.
And from a traffic engineering standpoint, is this a preferred situation for larger trucks when you can?
Yeah, I mean, state highways and county routes are designed and appropriate for truck traffic. I mean, along that route, you have the CVS, you have the Stop and Shop, you have Ocean State Job Lot, you have other retail businesses that are running large trucks. You have the post office that has, they don't necessarily have tractor trailers, but they have single unit trucks. So these are the routes. There are no local routes that this facility will need to use to get from here onto Route 15. And as they said, inbound traffic, the access is fully provided through the Blue Heron Road interchange, whether you're headed north on 15, south on 15, even if you're headed south on Woodport Road, you can use the 2 loop ramps at that interchange to make a U-turn and come back.
Safety at the ingress and egress point,
So,
did you take a
yeah.
look at that?
I did. So I just want to, I'm almost there. So the number of employees, we're talking about 3 or 4 vehicles that are arriving on site before 7 a.m. You're talking about 3 single unit trucks that are leaving the site by 7 o'clock. You're talking about the tractor trailer leaving early afternoon, again, off-peak, and then what, the other employees are leaving the site once they've transferred the tires from the small trucks to the tractor trailer, they're leaving the site. So all of that activity occurs during off-peak hours. The amount of traffic is negligible. I mean, it's less than 20 vehicle trips a day. And this is a site that's in the ED zone. Mr. Flynn will talk more about the planning reasons. But, you know, this is a zone that permits other uses that would be more intensive from a traffic operations perspective.
Like
The
a
other-
warehouse,
A warehouse,
fabrication?
right, the other uses that are permitted. So one of the things that came up that I was asked to look at was sight distance. What is the maneuverability, what is the safety of somebody leaving this site? This site has been there for a lot of years. It's next to a ramp coming off of Route 15. I took measurements from the site driveway, looking to the south towards the Route 15 interchange. And there is sufficient sight distance to view approaching vehicles. Yes, we do need to clear some trees. Those trees are within the state right-of-way. Those will require a permit from the state. But those tree clearing, which would be done by the applicant, also benefits traffic that's coming off of that ramp from southbound Route 15, where that traffic can make a left, can go straight across, or make a right-hand turn. And, you know, that, removing those trees also improves the sight lines from that ramp to traffic that's headed south on Woodport Road.
So
Now-
you looked at the speeds and the
Yeah.
distances?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
We base that determination of adequate sight distance and safety based on a couple of things. The posted speed limit on this roadway is 35 miles an hour. When we look at sight distance, we don't look at the posted speed, we look at the design speed, which is posted plus 5 miles an hour, so that's 40 miles an hour. We also, because this part of Woodport Road is on a curve, I also looked at the curvature of the road, and I'm using all of our industry reference materials, primarily the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, AASHTO Design Manual. And for a roadway curvature of, I need my report back. That Woodport Road is, the safe travel speed is 39 miles an hour. Now, when we look at stopping sight distance, we look at safe travel movements, we're basing that on a wet roadway condition, not dry roadway conditions. Dry roadway conditions, stopping sight distance is shorter because you don't lose that tire to pavement friction that you do when the roadway's wet. The stopping sight distance for 40 miles an hour, which is also the safe travel speed, is 305 feet. The available sight lines, based on my measurements, are 340 feet. So there is, we're not just meeting it, we're meeting it plus some based upon a travel speed of vehicles exceeding the speed limit. So based upon those observations in the field and based upon the analysis, there is more than sufficient sight lines and the ability for an approaching vehicle to stop before that truck, you know, if they happen at the same time, that exact same moment when that truck 3 times a week pulls out, there's more than enough time for that vehicle to stop. Just to put it in context, if the road was dry, stopping sight distance or stopping distance is 265 feet. It's 40 feet shorter because there's a higher friction factor. Now, we also looked at, there was some data that the DOT had on traffic volumes from 2019, pre-pandemic. Woodport Road, and this was a count just to the north, has it, that part, this section of Woodport Road has a traffic flow of about 9,200 vehicles a day in both directions. We're talking about adding 20 total trips per day. It's less than, it's about 0.1% of the total traffic. Now, in that traffic stream on Woodport Road today, there are truck traffic, single unit trucks and larger that were contained in the data from the DOT. There's about 250 truck trips on Woodport Road on a typical day. We're talking about adding 3 small trucks and 1 tractor trailer every other day, essentially. It's about a 2% increase in truck traffic on that road, which is negligible. You count a road on any given day, and you're going to see a fluctuation in the amount of traffic on that roadway. That exceeds that, so that's within the daily variation that you would have. So, this use would generate a very, very small amount of traffic onto a road that currently handles a significant amount of traffic total and a fair amount of truck traffic. So this use would not materially impact on the operations of Woodport Road. The driveway will operate safely, and the activities associated with this are very minor in nature, low-intensity use within a zone that, could permit uses that would have a much greater impact and intensity on the roadways and on the site.
As you understand it, no weekend use other than maybe a visit to use the site as an office.
That is
Car or
correct.
two. So there's no, the larger trucks are not going to be there on the weekends at all.
They'll be there, but they're not moving on and off the site. The truck activity is Monday to Friday.
Do you see any issues with potential illegal U-turns and unsafety, given the way you understand this operation here?
Given the nature of Woodport Road, the extent of that median, there's no way for any of those trucks to make an illegal U-turn around that median. They're going to travel north and get on Route 15 at 517.
So there's a reasonable and safe truck route without the use of local roads, is that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
And you've done your analysis and according with all traffic engineering standards, and you find the ingress and egress to be safe,
I do.
and you find the change here negligible.
Correct.
And compared to other permitted uses, what do you think about that in terms of some other things that could be here?
I can't, in looking at this application, looking at this operation, I can't imagine anything that really is going to be a less intense use than this. This is about as low intensity as you can get.
And we also submitted the truck turning templates. We're not going to talk about that in detail, but they
Right.
confirm that the trucks can maneuver around
Correct.
safely.
Right.
If there's any questions, you can answer.
I can
about
answer them,
that, But those were asked for. So Chairman, we appreciate it. We know this has gone on, but we understood this to be a significant issue. The community was worried about the safety. The community was worried about trucks going on local roads. And we brought in an expert to evaluate these issues in detail and give you the information you need to evaluate this application.
Any other testimony, Mr. Keller, or you're finished?
I am finished on my direct.
Like, who's your next professional?
If it's okay, Chairman, I'm going to put my client back on just for some very brief recap testimony, give you a list of some of the stores and go over it. Then we're going to put Mr. Flynn, the planner. Is that okay?
Proceed, yes.
Okay, we're going to call my client, Angel Zometa. Come on up. We're going to hand out an exhibit. I think we're up to 3.
Mr. Donetta, I'm going to remind you, you testified at the last hearing, did you not?
Yes, I did.
I'm going to remind you, you still got to tell the truth, okay?
Yeah. of course.
Okay.
Good evening, guys.
And Angel, you're one of the operators along with your father-in-law?
Yeah, that's right. So, as Mr. Keller was saying, this operation is Monday to Friday, come in 7 a.m. We usually don't want to hit any rush hour, we drive as well. And we have multiple stores in the area that we service weekly. So there's a lot of tires there that need to be taken out. Some of the stores are professional tires. I'm not sure if you guys know them. Discount Tires, the Shell station right there in front of Sparta Tires. Newton, the Honda dealership, all those local areas. We service all those people, and they rely on us to provide the service for them to get the tires out. We take 3 trucks out daily, 2 drivers, 3 drivers, 3 helpers, 2 people per truck. We go out in the morning, come back around noon. Once they're full, we back up to the trailers, the big units, unload them by hand. No need of any equipment, no forklift, nothing. The tires will never touch the ground, no water in them, nothing, no runoff. Once the trailer is full, I myself or my father-in-law, we take the trailers down to Lakewood or Fleetwood. And we usually try not to hit rush hour as well, because it's a big drive. It's a long drive, 4, 5, 6 hours. The truck will go out 3 times a week, no weekends. Maybe we'll come in weekends just to do paperwork. No trucks going out on the weekends. The trailers, they are permitted to operate all over the state. You know, we have to go through the weight scales. We have 2 of them. They're always going to be connected on site. And
Okay, 2 things. I marked as Exhibit A3. It's a handwritten list of a bunch of tire places. Did you prepare this for me?
yes, I did.
Okay, I asked you to do it. You sent it over.
That's
These are
right.
some of the stores in the area that you go to
Yes,
get
this
the
is
tires?
just around this area. We have multiple other customers that rely on us, to pick up their tires weekly. And being in the area, given the property, the location where it's at, it's easier to access to them driving from down south or Jersey City, and we can dispose of them. And we're not recycling them at the site. We're just a transfer station. So you guys will never see any tires down on the floor. They will never touch the floor. They will stay between the trucks and the trailers.
Okay, and between us, we prepared these proposed conditions of approval.
That's right.
All right, because we really want to address what we understood the board's concerns to be about this sort of evolving into or becoming something that you're not proposing. So I
No,
just want
yeah.
to go over that with you for the public. Everything occurs inside those trucks, correct?
That's right.
You're not proposing to store,
No
Any-
storage anywhere, not inside, only inside the trailers or the single units.
okay, and the trailers back up and you and your workers physically move the tires from that smaller SU-30 trucks to the larger tractor trailer.
Yeah, I sent some pictures over. I'm not sure if you guys have them. That's how, the trucks back up to the trailers and they're hand unloaded into the trailer.
Okay, and you're agreeable to all the conditions that I put forward in that exhibit?
Yes, we are.
To give the board and the community comfort that you won't have any tires outside?
Yes, we
Okay,
are.
and you understand the larger 2 trucks, they're gonna be behind the fence and sort of down the hill a little bit,
That's right.
okay? And then you have 3 of the smaller trucks right now. We asked for 4 parking spaces. Maybe your business will grow slightly in the future, who knows?
Yeah, or a truck breaks down, we always, want to be prepared.
So there were some issues from one of Mr. Pello's letter that the existing building, you're really just gonna use that for an occasional office spot?
Yeah.
I guess maybe in the morning before you go out, you congregate and have a cup of coffee or something?
That's right.
Okay, the second floor is accessible only from the outside?
Yes.
that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, you're not changing the HVAC system in any way?
No,
Okay, you're not producing any real garbage here?
No,
in-
no, we're
in-
not,
In,
no,
in any way, shape, or form? You're willing to work with the town on the lighting, but you really don't need much
Oh, yeah,
lighting
no.
because you're really out of there. So
Yeah.
you could put something on timers if they wanted, but you're really not
Yeah.
operating during the nighttime hours.
no, we're not.
All right. And we talked about your hours. And the tractors, Mr. Keller mentioned that you really like to get out of there before the
Before
rush
rush
the
hour.
larger tractors. So you go out in the morning, 7 to 12-ish.
That's right. We're flexible with the hours, so we always try to time it, not to hit any traffic. It's inconvenient for a lot of people and us as well, We don't want to be sitting there with a lot of smaller cars.
You want to get home.
Yeah, we want to get home. So,
So you try to time it.
yeah.
Okay, Chairman, that really concludes. I appreciate you giving us a chance to sort of sum things up. 'cause
Can I make a
we gotta get into-
suggestion? And I thought this is what you were going to do. It would take about 4 minutes to run through the proposed conditions of approval as his direct testimony.
Sure.
So if he could just, maybe I'll just lead him to get you started, and then you can take off, okay? So you're not going to store any fuel on the site, is that correct, sir?
That's right, no fuel on site,
Sir, that's correct as an answer. Just answer the questions, okay?
Correct.
Is there going to be any maintenance and repair of equipment on site?
no,
Okay, you're not going to do that at all. How about truck washing?
no,
Well, you already said there are no forklifts. Tires will only be kept inside the box truck and the tractor trailer, is that correct?
correct,
And we got the maximum number. The front parking lot is going to be resurfaced. You agreed to that as per David's report.
correct,
No use on the weekends.
correct,
You're going to eliminate the parking spaces at the southern portion of the property.
correct,
Propane tank's going to be moved to eliminate the existing encroachment.
correct,
We already talked about lighting. Location of the existing septic tank is to be field verified and plans amended accordingly and subject to David's final review and approval, or the Department of Health, or whatever David tells you got to do, right?
correct, yeah,
Okay. We got the fence detail. Sussex County Planning Board, that's nothing. As built. Truck route you agreed to as outlined by Mr. Keller, is that
Correct.
correct? And your hours of operation, I hadn't heard this actually, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday?
correct,
For truck operations, office hours may be a little extended.
Correct.
So those are conditions, and that's your testimony, is that correct?
yes, it is.
What else you got, Mr. Skolnick?
We have Mr. Flynn.
We got that part.
Oh.
What else you got from him?
We're done with him.
Okay, and board, what I just tried to do to just cut to the chase is go through this list of possible conditions. Okay,
Chairman, not meant to be an exhaustive list. Again.
Rich, they get it.
Okay.
And Mr. Flynn, you can come forward, please.
And by the way, counsel, I want to indicate that this was helpful because that's the testimony you're providing. It's helpful for the board to consider it. So, thank you. Thank you.
Not something I normally do, but since I was taking over, there were discussions. I really wanted a chairman to get it in front of you. The client here really wants to make it work. He's purchased the property. But he wants to give the board and the community the
We
comfort.
understand, Mr. Schlonick.
Okay.
Mr. Flynn, please proceed.
Good evening.
Matt, were you sworn in the last time on this
I
one?
was.
Okay, so you're still licensed, aren't you?
I am.
All right. And
No
you're still,
disciplinary actions in the last couple months, Matt?
and you're still Matt Flynn, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And we have your exhibit, which you gave the proper, you got the pictures from Angel of the operation that shows the workers,
That's correct.
and the fence detail came from Mr. Stewart's plan, and you just were kind enough to put that all together.
Yep.
So you have that in front of you. Okay, you did testify. I asked you to sort of put together your bullet points and go over some things since it's been a couple of months, given we need the D1 use variance. So could you sort of do a little recap for us, Matt?
Yeah, I'm going to try to just boil all of this down again, just to remind the board on what we're voting on this evening. Obviously, like council mentioned, we are looking at a D1 use variance. This use is not explicitly permitted in the ED zone. It's not explicitly permitted in any zone. It's not a use that I've seen explicitly permitted in any zone, in any town, because this is a highly unique application. That doesn't mean that it is a substantially detrimental application or something that's going to have a negative impact. It just means that this is something that's unique, that these zoning ordinances don't spend time on actually carving out regulations for. So obviously the board's task this evening, as council mentioned, is to determine whether this site is particularly suitable for the proposed use. I think there's really three main factors at play here. One, and I didn't really get to this at the last hearing, this is not really a substantial departure from what's permitted per zoning. Obviously, our traffic expert mentioned the fact that this isn't more intense than many permitted uses. But really, I think what this boils down to is if the tires exited the truck and went into the building and were stored in the building, this would now be a permitted warehouse. The fact that the tires are going to remain in the truck is actually what's triggering the use variance. So aesthetically, visually, it's really not much different from what you could have here. Fleet vehicles, parking for fleet vehicles, which could be trucks, is a permitted accessory use in the zone. So again, visually, you could have trucks here as of right. It's really just, in my view, the fact that the tires are remaining in the trucks and being stored inside the trucks rather than inside the building. So that's one thing. Secondly, I would say that this is, and we saw my exhibit A1 there. I'll let the board flip through that. I put it into evidence at the last hearing. It's a highly remote property. It's remote from residential. There's substantial buffering all around us. As the board knows, for a denial of an application, we need to find a substantial detriment. In this case, really nobody is going to be looking at this unless you're driving by. And finally, we talked about, I think by way of, we put this in through our applicant, that this is a highly beneficial land use that no one really talks about or thinks about, but it is something that's necessary in terms of, these tires need to go somewhere in order to get recycled. Again, it's not something that's baked into ordinances, but it is something that I think is important and beneficial. Finally, the board wanted to hear, I have in my notes that the board specifically asked to hear from a traffic expert at the end of the last hearing. So of course, that is why we brought Mr. Keller up, hopefully addressing all the concerns that were outstanding. So at this point, just to boil everything down from the planning standpoint, I'll just talk briefly about the use variance. Again, the burden of proof is the site suitability test. I would say that the clear language of the ED zone where we are situated is that these properties are already acknowledged to have good access to Route 15. We're not coming up here and proffering that we think it has good access to Route 15. The explicit language of the ED zone is that these properties are already acknowledged to have good access to Route 15. That's why it was zoned ED in the first place. So contextually, I think that proximity to the highway is a plus. Also, the remoteness from residential and the buffering. In terms of who's actually going to be looking at this, again, I'll just refer back to my Exhibit A1. In terms of the massing and the overall development intensity, our building coverage is only just under 2,000 square feet. We're allowed to go up to 20,000 square feet. So the actual size of the building that we're looking at here is just under 10 times what would be permitted here in terms of the building massing. So we talked briefly about some of the permitted uses that could go here. Those could all conceivably go in a much larger building that would have a more visually prominent effect on the streetscape. Finally, spatially, I would say that the size and the shape of the property are limiting factors in terms of what could go on this property. This is an undersized property, and so maybe some of those permitted uses would result in a crammed-in effect, whereas here this is a nice use of this undersized property, and still well below the lot coverage maximum. So all of that goes towards site suitability. I think we can, again, look at the context, we can look at the visual element, we can look at the massing, the intensity, and then as well as the spatial and, I'll say, geometric properties of the lot. The benefits of the application, we look to the municipal land use law, purpose A, promotion of the general welfare. This is part of the recycling stream. Here, again, these tires need a place to go in order to get recycled, and this is, that's what we're effectuating here. Better delineation of the parking, we're repairing the lot, we're adding that fencing, we're actually reducing coverage slightly. Purpose G, variety of uses in appropriate locations. I'll fall back on site suitability, and also noting again that we are compatible with the permitted uses in the zone. Basically what I mean by that is if we were in a residential zone, I would have a totally different opinion, but when we look at the uses that are permitted here, this isn't something that's going to adversely affect those uses. Purpose I, desirable visual environment. There was a note in the engineer's letter that 56.5% of the site is landscaped. Again, substantially under building coverage as well as lot coverage. We heard from our traffic expert that the trucks will be substantially shielded from view. I think he mentioned that there's really only a small window while you're driving by that you'll even be able to see the trucks, and then you're gone. And that's by virtue of those fences. Finally, purpose M is efficient use of land. Again, very few changes are actually proposed here, and the changes that we are proposing are really inherent to any new use of the site. Again, repairing the lot, adding security features, lighting, etc. The flip side to that, really, I think the crux of an application like this is the negative criteria, no substantial detriment to the public or to the zone. We talked about visibility, we talked about the buffering and the fencing. We talked about the fact that the trucks will be lower in elevation from the street. We talked about utilizing the existing building, keeping everything the way it is from a mass and scale perspective. We talked about the scale of the operation in terms of number of employees, number of trucks. Again, echoing what I said at the outset here, that this isn't a substantial departure from what would be permitted. Storage buildings and warehouses are permitted. Parking for fleet vehicles is permitted. So really, it's a matter of the tires not being brought into the building, in my view. Again, it's akin to some of the permitted uses in terms of many other industrial uses that could go here. I won't go through them all. And of course, we just went through that list of the conditions. Really, this is whatever we want to call this, this is a highly qualified use that is going to be subject to this long list of 20 conditions that I think directly address all of the concerns that have been raised at this point. So in the future, obviously, we know that use variances run with the land. These conditions will also run with the land. So all of that goes towards the use variance. To just quickly go through the C relief here, the positive criteria really is the same as the benefits that I went through for the use. In terms of the negative criteria, front yard parking, fence height, front yard parking setback. This is an abnormally shaped property. It's slightly undersized. So I think that when we look at what could go here, this really is, these are sort of the conditions that are necessary to effectuate any development, which is really the basis of the C1 hardship test. But of course, I think there is an element of the C2 test because of all those benefits that we are effectuating. So I tried to be brief. If there's any redirect, Rick?
Just a couple quick things. On the negative criteria, we have to use that enhanced quality of proof. Do you feel from a planning standpoint, we've met that given the limited impacts here and the limited truck traffic?
I do. And I do want to just add for the record, that I put on purpose O, which was recycling at the last hearing. I think even if we scratch that from the record, there's still a substantial amount of purposes that are furthered here. And I think the recycling element can be factored into purpose A anyway.
Because we're sort of in the stream of recycling.
Agreed.
If you say you got to recycle, you got to get the tires from those individual stores to the tire recycling plant somehow. It's got to go. There's got to be a transfer spot somewhere.
Right.
Okay, so let's just talk about that enhanced quality of proof for a second. You have an opinion as to whether that's been met here?
Yeah, the enhanced burden of proof is the site suitability test. Again, I talked about the context, I talked about the visual element, I talked about the conditions of the site itself, so I think that that's all satisfied.
Okay, and we're required under the Medici case to do a reconciliation.
Right.
You touched on this really, that we have to sort of somehow reconcile the fact that this use is not listed in the ordinance and in the master plan. You talked a little bit about how this is just such a sort of like a one-off sort of use that is quite similar. So do you have an opinion on whether an approval here could be reconciled with the fact that we're not permitted in the zone?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the concern was related to trucks, and I think this is a zone that explicitly permits several uses that would have truck traffic associated with them. So when we look at this use, even though it is highly unique, it would be rare, it would be unusual, frankly, if it were explicitly called out in the master plan. It does effectuate the purpose of the zone, and the introduction of trucks here, as minimal as they are, is not something that's above and beyond what's anticipated.
And again, the primary use is the tractors. Yeah, that's only three, the testimony undisputed is 3 per week, fewer than 1 per day.
Right.
And you have an opinion on whether that, in light of Mr. Keller's testimony, creates any detriments?
I would say no, and again, just briefly, our building coverage is substantially undersized. We could get a building that's 10 times larger, and we could put a permitted as-of-right warehouse in there. You'd be looking at more trucks for sure with that.
Okay, Chairman, thank you again. We appreciate the latitude that you've
You're welcome,
given us in terms of a new lawyer coming in and sort of wrapping this up. We know some of this has been repetitive, but we appreciate
No,
that latitude.
you're welcome. So that's it with your presentation?
That's it.
Okay, good. David, would you be so kind to give your report, please?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. For the record, just referring to the report that we prepared dated September 4th, 2025. As the applicant and his professionals indicated, we reviewed the latest revisions dated 8/12/2025 as far as Mr. Stewart's plans, in addition to the additional information and traffic report and documentation provided by Mr. Keller. With regards to zoning, as everyone is familiar here, and the applicant has stated, they need a use variance for the proposed tire recycling, for the proposed transfer of tires and storage in the trailers prior to being transferred. With regards to some bulk requirements, there are several areas on the subject property that don't meet the existing bulk requirements. I noted them. They include the lot area, the front yard setback, the rear yard setback, and the maximum impervious coverage. Again, those are existing conditions. The applicant is not proposing to increase those deficiencies. We do have the variance that's new for a lot area ratio for parking in the front yard where 25% maximum is allowed. I calculated 36.2%. With regards to the site plan, the building is an existing building on the parking lot that's paved but in need of resurfacing. They are proposing to restripe the parking lot to have the box trucks, the trailers, and the various vehicles as noted on their site plan, and including with that signage for ADA compliant space and planter areas for landscaping, and also some river rock to help with some of the erosion that was noted when I did my site inspection. And in addition to that, as they described, and it's shown on exhibit, I believe it's A1, A2, excuse me, a proposed fencing 8 feet high to help screen the proposed vehicles on site to the extent possible, where they're proposing 8 feet, but 6 feet is allowed. And the one section in the code, 18-5.3 H1N, requires all parking areas to be curbed. The existing parking area is not curbed now. It's basically sheet flow off, and that's what they're proposing to continue for this particular site. With regards to parking and loading, they did indicate that they aren't going to have the forklifts anymore, and they quantified the number of box trucks and the number of tractor trailers that would be at the site. One question that came to my mind is we're sitting here listening to the applicant's operation. Just to get it on the record, by any chance, is there any plan or any circumstance where subcontractors would come in with additional tractor trailers or box trucks that would provide additional tires if business got so big?
We could agree to a condition, no subcontractors.
Okay.
Is that okay?
And is there any time, I noticed on Exhibit A3 where you've got a list of several local businesses that use your client, is there any time when they would bring their vehicles over to this site to bring tires over?
My client is indicating that that does not happen. condition okay? You're only going to fetch the tires. There's no drop-offs. That's the concern.
And my point is, there's no additional traffic generated by other means than what your client described.
Good point. We could agree to a condition of no drop-offs of tires, other than the employees.
Okay. And the other question I had was the 2 tractor trailers with the trailer attached to the tractor, they leave and go 2 to 3 times per week, is my understanding.
Correct.
And my understanding is if they go to Lakewood or someplace out in Pennsylvania, it takes 4 to 5 hours one way?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now, listen to the question. He didn't hear you, Dave.
Pardon?
He didn't hear you.
But My,
Correct, that's right. Takes
okay,
4 to
my
5
question,
hours.
is, if it takes 4 or 5 hours, when does the tractor trailer come back? Is it in the middle of the night, or is it the next morning under normal business hours?
No, if we leave at 1, usually back around 5, 6, depends on the traffic.
Dave, it's 5 hours round trip. That's why I made him come up.
That's why I wanted to clarify.
Exactly.
Okay, then we're on. Then, that was the parking. With regards to stormwater, I agree that they are reducing the amount of impervious coverage. And in fact, excuse me, with the sheet flow with no curbing, that is probably the best condition as far as maintaining the existing storm drainage pattern. And I had noticed some erosion on one of the returns, and as Mr. Keller and earlier Mr. Stewart commented, they're going to put some river rock in there to stabilize that area. With regards to lighting, the one question I've got for the board and the applicant to decide this, there was one condition on the list that they provided that they would do, lighting to be amended subject to review and approval of the board engineer. My question is, what are we all talking about lighting? Are we just talking about around the office building, or are we talking around the whole site? Technically, I think the ordinance requires it the whole site. I just want to make sure if I'm going to be reviewing something, if the board should decide to approve it, that we're looking at something where I'm on the same page and on the same limits as far as what lighting you want. You can be talking about that. I just wanted to bring that question up
thank
so
you,
we're
David.
all thinking about it.
Thank you.
Okay. With regards to utilities, they've got the existing well. With regards to the septic system, my understanding is, and the way I interpreted the testimony, was that the applicant was going to do whatever investigation would be necessary. Maybe it's some test holes to determine the limits of the disposal bed and what have you, to make sure it's not within the state right-of-way. If it is in the state right-of-way, this is what I want to verify, then the proposed remedy for that would be to rebuild it out of the right-of-way?
I don't know that that's necessary.
Mr. Scarlett, can you speak into the microphone?
Sure. We certainly want to identify its location. If the state came along and said we got to chop up the right-of-way, then we'd obviously have to move it. I just think it's, could be a significant expense that is not really going to add anything. Is that?
Well, I guess the main thing I'm concerned about is you're supposed to be with a disposal bed, for example, 10 feet off the property line or the right-of-way line to the edge of the disposal bed. We're at a point now where we're going to be resurfacing, or the applicant's going to be resurfacing the entire parking lot. If we're going to correct something, now would be the time before it's paved. Just throwing that out.
I appreciate that.
Landscape plan, again, they provided some landscaping, and so the board knows they're really utilizing the presence of existing deciduous trees for credit for most of the landscaping on the site. With regards to the architectural plans, on the second floor, and I don't remember this, to be honest with you, is there plans for an apartment or anybody living on site, or no one living on site?
No one's.
So there'll be no rental for apartments? Okay.
Another agreeable condition.
Okay. My understanding is that there's not going to be any signs with regards to advertising the business on the site. The building's not sprinklered, not proposed to be. With regards to the environmental impact statement, I did point out that we've got a C1 water away an area for buffer behind this property and adjacent to it. My understanding is, as Mr. Keller pointed out, they're not proposing to expand the disturbed area, so they probably will not need a DEP permit for that. With regards to days and hour of operation, from the letter from Mr. Stewart, he indicated the site would be accessible 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I think that should just be clarified, accessible for what? By that, I mean, we just talked about 5 to 6 hours round trip and be back by about 5 o'clock, Monday through Friday for normal trips. Is there any condition, and just so the board and the public knows, where they might, on an emergency basis, have to access it at the site 3 in the morning with trucks or tractor trailers?
You ever have emergency tire recycling issues? No.
So really, 24/7 is not what we're looking at, really?
Dave, just to remind you, condition number, or item number 20, hours of operation were 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Friday, for truck operations, and the office hours
think-
were permitted on weekends. That was it.
I think Fred was referring that the site's not going to be
Okay,
gated
took care-
off.
You already took care of it. It was in the conditions that they submitted.
Understood. With regards to details, I don't think the applicant would have any problem providing those additional details that are in the report. With regards to the traffic report that Mr. Keller pointed out, and in particular, the site distance as far as stopping site distance for vehicles on the Route 181 exit ramp. The one question I've got, and this is just plain devil's advocate because of site distance issues on that corner, in the wintertime, when the state plows that and we get snowbanks on the side, how would that factor into the site distance in the wintertime?
Mr. Keller?
Given the vertical alignment of Woodport Road, which, extends higher as you go to the south, I don't think it's an issue. I mean, obviously, if it is an issue, the operator is going to, do what he has to make sure. Remember, most of the a lot of the vehicles leaving the site are trucks. The truck eye height is 7.5 feet above ground, whereas an automobile is 3.5 feet. But if it is an issue, I mean, it's him and his employees. He's going to have to plow his own lot. He's going to go out there and knock that bank down along Woodport Road, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. In addition, there's nothing that physically stops, like a bridge abutment, and you see, piles of snow coming up. The state trucks are going to come through and it's just going to go off. There's a fairly wide buffer area behind the curb. So that snow is not going to get piled up. It's going to be spread out over a larger area.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then finally, under miscellaneous, I listed a variety of permits that I believe the applicant, if it's approved, would have to be responsible to obtain. With regards, just a couple points on the conditions that were handed out. Final fence detail is subject to number 15, review and approval of the board engineer. If the board does decide to grant approval for the application, I'm referring to Exhibit A2, just to make sure that fence is the type of fence that the board would be interested in having on the site. With regards to item 18, submission of an as-built drawing, I just want that added by the applicant's land surveyor, not just a sketch that was provided by someone else. With regards to vehicles on site, I would suggest a condition that any vehicles and trailers on site be properly registered for the state and inspected and approved by the DOT.
That has to be done.
Okay?
The trucks have some sort of licensure for their.
Just so
purpose.
there's no unregistered or uninspected.
That's an important condition to address what I think what the board does not want to have out there.
Correct.
Is unregistered junk vehicles.
Correct. And then with regards to number 8, front parking lot to be resurfaced as necessary subject to review and approval by the board engineer. I heard some discussion tonight about resurfacing, and then I heard some other discussion about repair. Just so the board and the applicant realize what I'm suggesting and recommending is that any areas of the pavement that are in distressed condition be repaired, but that the entire lot be resurfaced with a minimum of 2 inches of bituminous concrete surface course. And that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, David.
Between the additional presentation this
Thank you, Lindsay.
evening and Mr. Simmons' report, the balance of my report has been addressed.
Could you just explain for the public and the applicant, again, they keep bringing up this warehouse permitted situation, and people might be thinking, you know, can a warehouse that's hundreds of feet high go there? What type of warehouses are we talking about right there in that ED zone?
So they would still have to follow all of the bulk requirements that are within the ED zone. The warehouse in particular has quite a few. I don't have the ordinance up right now at the moment, but they would have to be compliant with the bulk requirements as well as parking requirements. There's a number of requirements that would have to be met for a warehouse to be approved in a completely conforming scenario. And also, even if it was an application of a warehouse was to come to the Township of Sparta, prior to it being approved, it still would have to go to the planning board to present, even if they complied with every piece of the bulk requirements. So, so even with a warehouse, you couldn't just come in and get a zoning permit. You would,
Right.
there's still a process that you would have
Thank
to
you for
follow.
putting that on the record. I
Yes.
appreciate it. I'll open the hearing to the board members here. Marissa, if you can call on the members, please.
Michael Josephic,
Yeah, hi. So my first one is with the hours of operation, the condition 20. There's been some conflicting testimony because here we're saying that the hours of operation are 7 through 4, but then we heard testimony that trucks are going to go, 5-hour round trip and will come back between 5 and 6. So to me, a return trip driving onto the lot, that's operating. So do you need to adjust anything?
Angel would want to come up. We put down 4 as the time you'd be back. It could be that there's traffic or some delay, a truck could come back, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, there could be. There's times, accidents, unforeseen circumstances, like we get delayed 2 hours, 3 hours, and that's something that we can't really control. But we always, try to aim to get back, before the time. I want to go home too. I have a little kid, so I want to be there.
You think 5 o'clock might be a little bit better buffer?
Yeah,
could be
5
a
o'clock. Yep.
Occasional time where you're coming in a little bit later.
Yes, that's right.
All right,
Okay,
that's fine. And then the other question I have
around.
is there was a lot of testimony about, the visual elements and the fencing. I'm no arborist, but a lot of these trees look deciduous. So that means leaves are going to fall in the fall. Winter, they're going to be bare. What's it going to look like in terms of seeing the vehicles? Because I understood the testimony, the fencing is not going around the whole property.
Eric, you want to try to address that? Need a pen to get that. We also have, you have the exhibit from the last hearing, the A1, that has sort of the aerial photo on it.
Yeah, they all look deciduous.
The fence is primarily to block the view from the pavement.
Mhm.
It's correct that most of that vegetation along, between Woodport Road and where the tractor trailers are going to be parked is deciduous. It is also lower,
Mr. Keller, could you?
What's the
the pavement where the tractor trailers are going to be parked is lower. So the view, yes, in the wintertime, with no leaves on the trees, there would
You
be,
can put that back up. Want to post that?
Eric, would you finish your sentence, please?
certainly. There would be some view through the trees. I mean, that area between Woodport Road and where the truck is parked is also a regulated area. There's a stream there. So the DEP regulations allow you to plant vegetation, but the variety of evergreen trees that are native, and it would have to be native to be planted in that regulated area, and will be viable underneath that tree canopy, is very limited. So I'd like to say that we could plant some things in there, but I don't know how much more it would buffer it. But I'm sure you've all been by there many, many times as I have. And, you may get a glimpse of the truck there, but it is limited.
Thank you. That's all my questions.
Richard LaRupa.
Yeah, I'm wrestling with several issues on how this becomes a benefit to the township, and you negate the negative issues with having it. And part of it has to do with the specific of the applicant, and the other part of it has to do with the longevity of once we grant the variance, the D variance for this use, it's in perpetuity, as the chairman had mentioned. A little historic perspective. Back in the 1950s, North Jersey was a traffic nightmare. If you wanted to go west, you either went on Route 46 or 206 up to Port Jervis going towards Scranton. So they built Route 80 and they built Route 15, dualized Route 15. So you would take traffic off of 46 and you would take traffic off of 206 through the towns, through Newton, et cetera. And they put the dualized section of Route 15 past Sparta to avoid the traffic within downtown Sparta. I know this because as a child, I sat in my parents' car going out to the Poconos on Route 46, going through every little town along the way, and it took forever. So they built Route 15, okay? And they built the dualized portion of Route 15. And when I moved up to Sparta in 1970, it was only opened up to Jefferson. So you had to get off and come up Woodport Road to go into Sparta. And traffic was bad. Snow in the wintertime, bad traffic through Sparta and through town. Within a year or two, they had opened up Route 15, the Route 15 that goes around Sparta, okay, it connects on the other side by Lafayette. And everybody said, this is great. Traffic in downtown Sparta now is terrific. That lasted maybe 2 years, okay? Because funny thing that happened was traffic wanting to go up to the Vernon Ski area. The Playboy Club opened up in the 70s. I'm talking about the 1970s now. Traffic in downtown Sparta became deadlocked to go to Newton, whether you're on Sparta Avenue or on Main Street, it was deadlocked. And it took us more than 10 years to get the Route 517 bypass built. When it was in the original plan, and Dave, you probably remember this, it was in the original plan for Route 15, but to save money, they eliminated it at about $1 million savings, but then they spent about $12 million to build it in the mid-1980s. And again, once they opened that up, things seemed to help out a lot. You still had some traffic, but nothing like it was before. Come to the modern day, and traffic on Route 15 is a nightmare, okay, especially in the afternoon. And the exit ramp onto 517 heading northbound from 15 sometimes backs up as early as 2 o'clock in the afternoon back onto the highway, and that's a long exit ramp. So the traffic there is bad. What you're proposing, again, the whole purpose in building these highways was to eliminate the transient traffic from the local traffic. Okay, people going out to Pennsylvania, going north and west. What you're proposing is a truck operation that is a transient business. The sole purpose of it is to transfer a transfer station to get materials and to bring a truck through the middle of Sparta, through Woodport, through Sparta Avenue, and back onto 15. And my concern is that with the traffic going off of 15 now to 517, both northbound and southbound, going to Newton or going up to Ogdensburg, people are cutting using Woodport Road now and either going through town to cut off of that because of that backup on Route 15, or even going down East Mountain Road and then down Glen Road, going that way around to get around the traffic. To bring in a business that's sole purpose is transient movement. not for Sparta businesses, okay? You mentioned the trucks that come in for CBS and the trucks that come in for Ocean State. Well, they're to service the businesses in Sparta, okay? And my two concerns, the first one is, if this is approved, if I were to say, yes, this is granted, I'm approving something that's just going to have trucks moving through town. And you're saying not many trucks now, and hopefully his business improves, or hopefully it gets better, and they have more control of it. I worry about granting variances with a lot of conditions on them, because then it becomes an enforcement issue. And you're trying to enforce something behind an 8-foot fence. And if his business does expand, he's going to have more trucks going through town. The question is, does this provide a benefit to the township? And I look at it and I'm saying, well, what is the benefit to the township? It's not a business in the township. It's a business through the township. Is it providing employment for the township? No, it's not employment for the township. It's just there, okay? Is it providing benefit to the businesses in the township, either the food service businesses or some of the other businesses? I don't see that as a benefit to the township. So at this moment, I really don't see the benefit to it. And again, where you say state and county roads off with truck traffic, yes, they are. But the whole purpose in building the big highway networks was to bypass the local towns and to get all the transient traffic away from the towns. And what you're proposing now is transient traffic through town, even though it's one truck plus the smaller trucks during the week. The township probably 2 years ago, approved an apartment complex behind the Burger King on Sparta Avenue. That's going to add traffic right there at that point on Sparta Avenue, where these trucks are going to be going. There's also a school bus stop that's across the street from that that's going to be in the middle of the day. That was a big contested issue as to whether that should be approved, but it's going to add traffic. I have a lot of problem with traffic counts over the last few years because of the whole COVID thing. We don't know where traffic is. Traffic now, no matter where you drive, is very congested. And I believe traffic in Sparta is just going to get more congested as we move forward. And my concern is, our responsibility is to look from a master plan standpoint, look at the long term. Are we creating the potential for more traffic in town and transient traffic, which is not the purpose of building the highways around the downtown area? The other part of it is, once we approve this as a transfer station, it could be a transfer station for anybody. As long as they meet conditions, you can even have something like a garbage transfer station there with a larger building. And that can happen. That is possible because DEP can come in and say, yeah, we need to have more garbage transfer stations. Just like 20 years ago or 30 years ago when the state came in and said every county has to have its own incinerator. Okay, that comes completely out of the township's control. But as long as it's a permitted use now to have a transfer station there, they can comply with certain conditions. So I'm wrestling with these things from a local perspective and from a master plan perspective as to why it should be approved. What is the benefit to the township?
If I may, sir?
Yeah.
And I remember Route 80, because I grew up in Parsippany, and
Microphone, Mr. Skolnick, please.
my father took me to go see Route 80 being built down there, 46 in Parsippany. But let me address a couple things. First, about the garbage and the transfer station. Conditions can be added to say for tires only. That's acceptable to us. So it doesn't become a permitted use. I have to disagree with you, sir. It doesn't become a permitted use. That's not our law. You can impose conditions and say, just for this use, just for this tire operation only, and if somebody tries to change it, the zoning officer is not going to allow that, not going to give them a CO. They'd have to be in front of the board. So I do not think that that's the accurate statement of the law, that if we say tires only, that means tires only. It's not going to be garbage. Let me suggest what we put in the record for servicing local businesses, and that's Exhibit A3. All of these local businesses have to have their tires picked up.
The
Look,
list you gave us is 3 pages long, and it's 90% in Newton. Okay?
but-
That's for Newton. That's not for Sparta. I'm saying, what is the benefit to Sparta? There are 2 or 3 locations
but
in
we-
Sparta. And
we-
as far as the issue of another type of operation, okay, if the town permits it as a transfer station, and lawyers are very good at this, we may disapprove it, but if the BPU approves it or DEP approves it, it could be approved as long as they meet the conditions of the higher agency. So once we crack the door open, this is what I'm wrestling with. Once we crack the door open, we can't shut it again.
You're not approving a transfer station. That's not.
We
what-
are.
It's the.
We are
it's-
approving a
it's- it's
transfer.
the-
That's
it's
what the basic
inter-
function of
you're-
this thing is. It's a transfer station.
You're approving the internal movement, just like we described it. That's why I wanted to come back. Tires moving from an S, you have the best counsel in the state for boards. We just heard that. Your counsel can draft something, and I submit, that protects you. Because we have an important use that serves Sparta businesses and other businesses. And sir, recycling is important for everybody. It's not, we can't, just like cell phone service, we can't say, well, the signal stops at the town line.
I don't
But
disagree
what
that
a-
recycling is
sir-
important. I don't
sir-
disagree that recycling is important, but I disagree with the transient traffic through the downtown area.
I appreciate the
If it
traffic.
was on the
it's-
other side of Route 15 interchange where you got on and off of 15 without coming into the downtown, that may be a different issue. But this one where you're forcing us to have truck traffic for a transient operation right through the middle of the township, I have a problem with that.
We appreciate it. I'm trying to address as
Okay.
best I can. But some Sparta residents do go to Newton if the price is right.
They do.
For the tires.
They do.
So we don't know where people are going. So I would submit, there's a sale on Goodyear radials. They go over there, and what do? They leave their tires there. So somebody has to pick those up. Somebody's going to have to, and we think, what is the benefit? What our courts say is, if the site is particularly suitable, you've heard this, that's the benefit. The site is suitable. So we have a location that's already disturbed, no new disturb, a site that we can sort of clean up a little bit and make better, a site that could have maybe not a 100,000 square foot warehouse, but a site that could be used more intensely. And we have a very, very low generator. I have to disagree with you. We're saying, I appreciate it.
Okay,
that-
Mr. Soga, that's taken and put
Okay,
on the record.
those are my concerns.
We
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Rich, for
Okay.
that. Next, Marissa.
Michael Leondi.
Hey, guys, so back on June 11th, there was some discussion around, and I don't recall the genesis of it, so forgive me on that, but there was some discussion around what was or was not an NJDEP approval required for this type of facility, for a transfer station or this type of use at this address. Have we found any more clarity on that, whether or not the user needs some sort of approval from DEP, or an address does, or how that works, or if it's even required?
Yeah, we don't think one is needed. We looked into that. This is not the recycling plant, Lakewood, Pennsylvania, the recycling plant where they chop up the tires and turn it into stuff for playgrounds. That has an approval, but this transferring of the tires in a parking lot, we don't believe it needs a permit. Of course, the municipal land use law says if we need that DEP permit, it doesn't make a difference what this board does. So if it turns out we were wrong, and after some more research by your zoning folks, we need one, we got to go get it. But we don't think we need one for this operation.
Okay. And do we have a position on that? Put you guys on the spot?
Well, do you guys have anything from DEP saying that it's not needed? Or-
The negative, we would endeavor to try to produce that, to confirm that. I'll agree to it if that's your concern, to try to get something from the DEP that says we do not need a permit. Like, a letter of no interest you have sometimes. So we're going to agree to the condition because we really truly want to address the board's concerns and find a way that we can give the community comfort given the low degree of traffic here. Low degree of traffic here. This is not going to cause, sir, I have to disagree. The evidence is so clear. One truck every other day on the big trucks, and the other trucks are 3 small trucks. And Eric testified there's 250 trucks a day based upon the pre-COVID study. That's the undisputed evidence in this record is 250 trucks pre-COVID a day. And we're adding 2-3 trucks.
Mr. Scarlett, let's stick with Mr.
Thank you.
Leondi's points, not to
I
go back
appreciate
to
that.
Mr. LaRufa's comments and concerns, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I appreciate
would
that,
like to try
guidance.
to put a condition on that and try to have that produced.
Yeah, we will. We'll have to get something that's
Rich, okay,
satisfactory.
they get it.
Marissa,
Really
next,
quick group.
please.
Richard Rohrbecker.
I do have a concern and a question about Mr. Kessler has stated that the any trucks, the tractor trailers would be going on state highways. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. These
And
state-
or county roads.
That's fine, understood. These roadways that you have shown a traffic pattern on, they're also used by the residents of the town and surrounding communities, the county, to transit through the township.
Correct. That's the purpose of county and state roads, is to carry a variety of traffic, including large vehicles.
And it's my understanding, based upon the Exhibit 1A and your testimony, that the trucks can only make a right turn.
Correct.
They cannot go left because of the median.
Correct.
It's not very big, but it's enough to warrant only a left turn.
Right turn.
That is correct, okay? That whole scenario bothers me. We can only make a right turn and we have to go down through 181, go through the jug handle and all this other nonsense and make a right turn onto the county road, and then make a right turn onto the 4-lane highway to go south, or go slightly further and make a left turn to go north on Route 15.
Correct.
The intersection where they have to go and make the right turn onto the county road, I'm not certain whether it continues the state highway at that point.
Well, 181 Sparta Avenue continues as a state highway all the way until it reconnects with Route 15 right by the railroad tracks.
Okay.
That is a state highway from the railroad tracks at the north end of Sparta, or the northern part of Sparta, all the way down past this site, all the way down until you get to
Someplace.
to Jefferson by Lake Forest.
Yes,
And then it gets back onto,
Route 15.
it gets onto Route 15.
Okay. There's nothing to prohibit or exclude large trucks from using that extension down to Route 15 instead of making a right turn.
You mean by the Ocean State job lot?
Yes, that is correct.
Correct, but they would only do that if they're going north. And their tractor trailers, both the Lakewood facility, the recycling facility they go to, and the Fleetwood, Pennsylvania facility they go to, there's no reason for them to go north on Route 15.
Okay, all right.
So
Thank you for that.
You're
I just
welcome.
needed that piece of clarification. But I still have issues about the fact that these are highly traveled roads and there's a large amount of traffic on these roads that is single occupant vehicles and passenger vehicles for,
And I did indicate that there are, and that's why we looked at what the traffic count data was. There are trucks that use that roadway today.
yeah.
Some may
I'm
be
not
make-
arguing that.
Right, some may be making local deliveries. I mean, the Shell station, the, Chima Farms are getting gas deliveries in tractor trailers. And most likely they're getting off at Blue Heron and coming down Woodport Road. There are other vehicles that are traveling further through. I mean, for the most part, if you're traveling to Lafayette or to the shop right up at North Village, you're not ever going to get off of Route 15 unless there's a problem on Route 15. But there are deliveries made to Sparta businesses and other businesses. The new 7-Eleven is going to be getting tractor trailer deliveries. They're going to get off at Blue Heron. So this is, and that's why I made the point of the frequency of truck traffic from this is negligible when you look at the traffic that exists, the truck traffic that exists on this roadway today.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
This is a necessary service, I think. I think everybody agrees.
I'm not arguing that.
No, I appreciate that. But what we're
I'm-
saying is,
My concern was the truck traffic.
we appreciate that. If we all agree that it's a necessary service, we're talking about one truck every other day. So as a percentage, so that's what that's our proof that we're putting before you, that this is going to be
I
such.
understand that. Thank you very much, sir.
I appreciate it.
Okay, Richard?
I think I'm done at
Thank you.
at this time. Thank you.
Marissa?
Jennifer Panaha.
Yeah, I have a couple of observations.
A little bit closer to the microphone,
thank you.
Jennifer, please, so we can record
So
everything.
I would be more comfortable if we understood the relationship with the DEP, because on that piece of property, you've got two branches of a Category 1 stream there. By no fault of the owners there, I mean, by today's standards, you wouldn't be able to build anything there. There's a 300-foot setback for Category 1 streams. So it's already counter to what the policies are for a Category 1 stream. So that feeds into this in the sense that, now you're having these tires there too. But as you've explained, it's a clean operation. I understand what you're saying. The other, clarification that I have is I just want to have it concise and on record. So, when we count traffic and we're talking about 250 trucks a day, that is the number there. We don't count it as up and back as one, right? It's each way.
Correct. It's 250 trucks total in both directions.
In both
The
directions.
9,200 total vehicles are in both directions, both north and south.
And whether or not, but I just, I like to get the numbers clear. So if you've got two 18-wheelers and they go every other day, so let's say 3 times a week, right? So that's 12 passes, right, per week.
Except for the fact that we're looking at one point on the roadway, and that where the DOT took the count was, I forget the exact location, it was north of this site, but when the tractor trailer leaves, they're going to go
Because
north.
they're going through town, you actually get, that's to your advantage.
But when they come back, when they return, I shouldn't say when they come back, when they return to the site, they will get off at the Blue Heron interchange, and they will come off of Woodport Road at this point. They will never pass a point on Woodport Road twice to make the trip.
Yeah.
Just to put it in the
Yeah.
context of
I
how
wouldn't
you
call it
take a traffic
semantics, but
count.
I get what you're saying.
Okay.
And when they're getting off and they're coming back to come to this place, they're going to have to go to Blue Heron to the end and try to make a U-turn at that
No,
spot.
no, you would come
No.
north on Route
Come north.
15.
Okay.
You
Got it,
take the
got it.
loop
Slow
ramp
around. Loop ramp.
over
Yeah, got it.
by Laddie, Clark, and Ryan. There's no U-turn, it's just a loop.
And then on number 6 here, it says the maximum number of box trucks located on the premises at any one time will be 4.
Correct.
Okay, so is there a spare? Because we keep talking about 3 trucks a day.
They use 3 trucks today. We talked about one, they may, if a truck breaks down, they're going to have to bring a truck from another location and, until they get that truck fixed. Or if their business grows, we've designed the site to accommodate 4 trucks.
And and I'm just, this is might be a little nitpicky, but I just want to get the numbers clear. Because if we're looking at this from a purist perspective, we're talking about having 4 box trucks potentially. That's what it has here in the things. And
That is correct.
And we have them 3 trips a day, right? Isn't that what
No,
we talked about?
each truck goes out in the morning,
And comes back.
makes
in the
its
evening.
rounds to whichever stores are in in this area. And then they come back and they take the trucks off the trucks. They take the tires off that truck and put them in the tractor trailer.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my point is, when I just did it, that they would do it 3 times a day, I came up with 24 a day, which is more like 10%, but
No.
it sounds like we're still lower. Okay. So, that-
trucks are once a day.
yeah. Yeah.
Right, so it's
Once.
3 out in the morning, and those 3 trucks come back at night.
Yeah.
And again, because of the median down the middle of the road, whether they're coming from Newton or wherever, they're gonna come off this ramp, the Route 15 southbound ramp, make a right onto Woodport Road and make a right in. If they went down to Jefferson, to the tire places down there, they would come in on Woodport Road
Understood.
through Blue Heron.
Got it. Okay, thank you. And that's it for me. I don't have any more questions.
Okay, thank you.
We'd like to address, we can agree to a condition that,
Rich, easy. We got other board members that are waiting
I'm
to
sorry.
have a chance.
Michael Steinberg.
Yeah, I have a number of questions. I appreciate the robust discussion that we've had so far on the traffic across the board. I definitely think there's a couple things that we still need to address on that, but I will get to other points here shortly beyond the traffic. So the one piece that stood out to me also is that the tractor trailers are going to leave during off-peak hours, which was quoted as 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. around here.
Correct.
It depends on what your interpretation of off-peak hours actually means, because anybody that has anybody like kids in the school district here knows that 1 to 3 might be fine, but anytime between 2 to 4 is a disaster zone with school buses around here, right? The high school starts getting out a little after 2, the middle school's out at 2:30. Helen Morgan then moves over to, Mohawk moves over to Helen Morgan a little after 3. Alpine gets out like late 3 o'clock. 2 to 4 is a terrible time with school buses around here. So if you're trying to navigate tractor trailers around school buses and all the traffic starts, that Mr. LaRufa had mentioned previously on this one, it's not a great time, and it's not exactly what I would call as off-peak either, especially with the amount of kids that are in transit during that time period, right? So if your box trucks aren't back, they haven't loaded things out from, let's call it noon to 1, and then out of here by 1 o'clock, you're going to hit school traffic. It's plain and simple that. Right? Observation doesn't need feedback necessarily on this one, right? The bigger point that I'm not clear on at this juncture in the game, and we had a very similar discussion last meeting that we had about what is the actual intended use of this facility, right? I've heard transfer station, right? Transfer center. I then heard that, no, this isn't a transfer center. I've heard recycling center, warehouse. Is this a distribution center? What exactly is this facility being used for? Like, how would you define this? Like, so when we talk about getting a D variance in perpetuity, what is that intent for your business that we would be approving in perpetuity? Like, I need that clarification to understand that a little bit more.
well, as described, a transfer station has sort of a connotation of a garbage transfer station. We are not that. It's the transportation of tires from an SU-30 into a.
What is that though?
tractor.
That's
I
an
don't-
action. That's not a
There-
thing.
there's something called footnote 11 of the Medici case. It says there's these sort of new and unique uses. So this is sort of a one-off type of use.
So how do I define something that goes into perpetuity as a new and unique use in this business without it being
I think that-
effectively defined?
I think that esteemed counsel can describe that, and ultimately the board can approve that. If we can find a way to make the conditions work so that the board could get comfort, I think there's a way in the resolution to take the transcript and the testimony and define what we have described here. It's not so easy to do. I'm not going to say, this is not a gas station. This is not a convenience store. This is not a supermarket.
So is this,
It's not a
let me ask
store.
this
It's
question then.
the-
Is this a recycling facility?
There's no recycling
Okay,
going
is
on.
this
There's no
a
recycling.
transfer station?
It is the transfer of
So
tires.
if it's a
but
transfer of tires, does it make it different than a distribution center?
I wouldn't call it, we're not distributing anything here, so I wouldn't call it a distribution center.
But you're distributing tires to Pennsylvania and to Lakewood.
That is not occurring on this site. What is occurring on this site,
But the
is-
tires are being concentrated in this site and then being distributed out.
It's
to
a
these other-
delivery-
To the recycling centers.
it's a-
So does it not make it a distribution center?
I would call it, as a traffic engineer, a tire collection facility. They're collecting tires from point A, taking them to point B.
But what's
What
the
it-
point B
Dis-
called then? It's distribution.
No, it's not a distribution. They're collecting the tires from various businesses. They are then consolidating those tires. So if you want to call this tire
The
consolidation.
consolidation center?
So they're taking the tires from multiple locations and putting them in a tractor trailer to deliver them for recycling, which is a state mandate.
and I think what we can say is, we can fairly easily draft a resolution that protects the community. That's what you're concerned about, and we get that.
No, I'm actually concerned about like what is the intended use of this facility, right? Like I don't think it's defined. I mean, I understand that there are recycling going on. I understand that there's consolidation going on. I understand that there's distribution going on, but I don't know what I am approving from a D variance standpoint right now that you guys are asking me to define right now.
Look, it has to occur somewhere. It has to
Agreed.
occur somewhere. But I think Eric's description is well put, but in practice, tire collection entirely within the trucks. That's our goal here is to protect the community. I think or at least I think it should be, and not so much about the definition. So long as the community can be protected by mandating and giving the zoning officer something that is identifiable and easily enforceable. No tires outside. We're committing to that, and the community can get that easily, and that's so
But
easily
again,
enforced.
the
Tire
burden of proof
collection.
is on you right now because Elite Tire and Truck may not theoretically be here in 200 years, but this D variance will, right? So if you don't define that for me right now, as you're in front of this board, it becomes very hard for me to actually understand what it is I'm voting on.
Okay, Matt has pointed out what Mr. Aller wrote in the application. I hope it's good, Matt.
Matt, would you let Matt just, since he's the sworn witness and since the board members are asking the questions, let's get this on the record, because this seems to be a stumbling point, I think. What do you got, Matt?
What did Mr. Aller write?
So as you said, there is no strict two-word definition because this is such a unique site. So how do we define it? In the application, Mr. Aller wrote, quote, "To permit the use of the property for parking of motor freight vehicles to be used to transfer tires between smaller box trucks to up to 2 larger trailers for shipment off-site," end quote. So
So is it a parking lot?
well, that's, I think, again, we shouldn't really be trying to find some two-word definition. I think that is the definition. It's a long definition, but it is a definition.
You can see that I'm skeptical.
I get it.
Right?
It's more
Yeah,
of a
but
description than a
it's a
definition.
description, right? Like nobody's telling me what the intended use is. So I mean, we'll run in circles, but that's my question, right? And the burden that I'm trying to understand here.
Ask him a
we don't-
question go along with the,
You
with
can.
the line? Matt, could you give me, and if you need a minute, that's fine. Could you give me a couple of examples of similar businesses that do something akin to this? I'm trying, and as far as I'm concerned, Lindsay and Dave and anybody else, I'm looking for something. They can hear me, but thank you. I'm looking for something that's similar. So for example, if you had a dairy farm, and the dairy farm has all the cows getting milked, and then that's consolidated into a tank, and the tank then ships it off. That's not being touched. That's just being moved so that eventually it goes and becomes the milk that you buy in the supermarket. That just sprung to my mind. But you're traveling around, you're seeing stuff. You got any other examples in the real world that come? And we can give you a break if you want, because we can open it up to the public and keep this thing moving.
I think that's fair. I'll revisit that for sure. But the other thing real quick that I just want to say in terms of your comments, unfortunately, I think it really is an unfortunate situation that this applicant would have to deal with this problem in any board that he goes to because of the uniqueness. So we have managed to find a property where we think it really works here based on all of the testimony we've given. So I do think, there is that element here where this board can kick us down the road. We have to go find another board. We're going to have the same problem. It doesn't mean that it's a detrimental land use. It just means it's unique.
And
So
they get that, but if
I
you
get-
can
yep.
just put your thinking cap on. And Lindsay, if you come up with something too, that would be
All
helpful.
right, thank you. Marissa, excuse me, Mike, are you finished?
I'm finished. Thank you.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
Okay, Mr. Keller, our Sergeant Richard Smith from the Traffic Bureau
Yes, sir.
had mentioned vehicles exiting Route 15 are traveling at 55 miles per hour, and the curvature of the roadway combined with obstructions leaves inadequate sight distance to safely react to tractor trailers entering or exiting the property. In addition, Route 15 south off-ramp sits directly before the driveways. Larger vehicles exiting Route 15 will further obstruct the sight distances, compounding the safety hazard. And no one does 55 coming off of there, because I know you're not from this area, but when they come off
Oh,
Route
no,
15.
I am from this area.
So you know?
I know, I drive this road I drive on Route 15 pretty much every day. I live in Andover.
But when you come off that bend, if you're not doing 55 or 60, they'll run right over you there, because I go there quite often. No one observes the speed limit there at all, and that's what he's mentioning, this 55 mile an hour.
Well, nobody's
situation.
driving 55 miles an hour on Route 15, otherwise you're getting run over. But
And
if
same
you
when they come off of there, unfortunately.
if you come off at Blue Heron, you're not doing 55 on that ramp.
Correct.
You're going much slower.
No, I haven't seen it that way. A lot of people I talk to, like I say,
Itself.
On the ramp
oh, the
itself.
ramp itself.
On the ramp itself.
Right.
So you're on 15, you get off at Blue Heron, you're not doing 55 on that ramp.
But they do speed up when they come around and onto Woodport Road, unfortunately. But
This is not an expert opinion, but my experience from a traffic engineering perspective, and somebody who has kind of a lead foot, you're not doing more than about 40-something miles an hour coming over over the bridge and coming up Woodport Road. And I have I don't have a sports car, I don't have a Corvette or anything, but I have a car that handles pretty well, and I'm not going to do it. It's not, a safe maneuver. Putting that aside, there is adequate sight distance for both parties, both the person leaving this site and the vehicle approaching, to make it a decision as to whether they're going to pull out or not. And that, as an engineer, is what I base my opinion on, is the facts of what the stopping sight distance is, what the sight lines are. No, I'm not, I read the sergeant's report. So,
Thank you, I understand all that, and he just concludes, I guess, as you read the report, that the site, proposed use of this property at that site proposes a significant traffic safety hazard without substantial improvements to sight lines, roadway design, long-term management of the vegetation. And the
Which is-
location is at a high risk of collisions involving tractor trailers and regular traffics on that site on Route 181. I just wanted to read it into the record. I know you saw it. The sergeant? No.
That makes it quite difficult for us.
And then did you see the environmental commission report from our environmental commission in town?
Yeah, Dan, I think the testimony is clear. We're not creating any environmental issues. We're actually reducing impervious. We're not going into the C1 waterways.
They had some concerns with that. Do you have the report with you or not?
I do have all the reports, but I think
June 9th, I think it is.
I have, there's two reports dated June 9th. Mr. Aller delivered, volume 2, same date as, I'm not sure which one is which, but we certainly have to get any approvals from the DEP, but we don't think we need any, and I think your expert confirmed that. I don't think there's a DEP issue here. We're not impacting wetlands. We're only on previously disturbed property, and we're actually committed to reducing impervious.
Okay. And then I know the fire department said they had no issues, correct?
That is correct. We hired an expert, went out there, met with the fire department, talked about the various
The only reason I
regulations.
bring it up, our fire department marshal on August 1st had issue a memo. Did you ever see that one?
August 1st,
August 1st?
we have a memo dated September 29.
Could I just show you this memo and then you could potentially respond to it? I have it here, Mr. Schlangen.
It was,
You probably don't have it. Just take a minute or two. It's not long, it's just a few memos there. So you go back to the microphone, please.
This we did have. The security gate, we responded to that by increasing the width. Security gates shall be maintained as operational. We, of course, agree to that. We added the bollards for the gas meter. And then in terms of bullet point 1 about the water supply, the September 29 memo was issued at our request to confirm that we're okay. It's not.
I just wanted it all on the record.
No, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Can I give you this back?
Thanks. Thank you.
Quick question on the security gate. When a truck pulls up after returning from his trip, the tractor trailer pulls up, how does he open the security gate?
Do we have a proposal on that you're aware of, Eric?
I'm not sure if it'll be mechanized or if he will pull into the site. The gate is far enough back that the truck can pull off of the highway, off of Woodport Road. If it's manual and he has to,
But he can automatically pull off of Woodport Road before he gets to the gate. Could be
oh yeah,
completely
there's
off the
plenty
road.
of room between Woodport Road and where the gate is, that he's off the roadway. So if the gate's closed, if nobody, is still there when he returns from the trip to Lakewood or Pennsylvania, he can pull off, park, get out, and open it. If it's mechanized, in the trucks, they will have, whatever fob or push button that will open up the gate.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I'll now open the hearing to the public, and if you're so kind, try to keep your questions and comments to 5 minutes or less. And please state your name and address.
Thank you for hearing me this time. My name is Gail Byrne. I live Orchard Terrace, 8 Orchard Terrace, and that's Lake Saginaw, which it's almost like an umbilical cord. Your streams feed.
Ms. Byrne, you're here to address the board, but let me swear you in first. Raise your right hand, please.
Yes.
Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
Yes,
And Gail, it's Gail,
yes.
and your last name is Burn?
Byrne.
Close, but no cigar.
I have a question as far as with their trucks. What type of hazmat signs are required on their trucks? Because that'll give us feedback as far as what type of hazardous materials are there.
Ms. Byrne, stop. That's a good question. See if they can answer it. One question
Okay,
at a time,
thank you.
okay?
Stand up.
We are required to have any hazmat plan for on the day.
Really? Okay.
Angel, come up here.
Anyway, as far as, the concerns we have is that the streams that feed into Lake Saginaw, the dust from the tires, are hazardous material, and they can contaminate groundwater, harming aquatic systems. This is from the DEP website. So it's not just that the trucks are together, that dust is going to come out from there and possibly into the streams that feed into Lake Saginaw, which then feeds into Lake Mohawk. As far as traffic, you were talking about, going all the way up. That's like 4 miles going from there to go all the way up and then come 4 miles back down. They're not going to do it. Lake Saginaw has a big wide opening there. And that's where the bus stop is. And I've seen it. They're going to come right in there, big wide opening, do a U-turn and go back to Route 15. That's a half a mile from their property. And that's where the school bus stop is. I've seen oil trucks come through there the wrong way, down the one way, at like 30 miles an hour, and the kids are there waiting for the bus. And it's a matter of he said, she said, who's going to enforce it? That's a big concern for me. The study that was done by, was it Chief? Oh, Sergeant Richard Smith. He says here that there's no threat to the public health, safety, and welfare. Well,
No, that's outdated, Gail. That's the wrong one.
June 9th? Oh, okay. What I would like to mention also is that the Sparta Township, the crash study through the township, Woodport Road is only second to Route 15 in accidents. And right in front of that property, there was a fatality. So, I mean, I appreciate that they're providing a business, they're providing for their family, but this is our home. And I'm just concerned that it'll affect, and there's no, I don't see the benefits. I apologize, I don't have the information of where I obtained this, but at the last meeting, I found where any changes to the property need to go through the DEP. I will try and find where I found that, but
Lindsay, could you respond to that? To Gail?
I'm not sure where that's from or
me
what that
either, and I
is
know I hadn't.
relative to.
Okay, now at the last meeting, they said 2 tractor trailers on the property, 5 days a week, which would be 10 times a week coming and going from the property.
Ma'am, just to give you some additional time so you're not wasting it,
Yeah.
they revised that testimony, so what they said the last time, tonight's what counts.
Okay,
So the last
but
time is not
that's
part
what
of the
I'm-
record.
That's what I was about to say. As far as what's key, if they're offered more business, what's stopping them? Who's going to enforce this? I don't see anybody enforcing this.
Okay,
At least I should say, I don't have the confidence in that.
we understand.
Okay?
Okay, yeah.
I know there's more, but I'll stop there and let other people speak. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Gail. Good evening, Jenny. For
Hi.
the record, Jenny Derricks, Tappan, Sparta.
Thank you, Ken. Just a couple of
Any-
quick
Are
things.
you going to ask questions or testify? 'Cause press usually
Might
lets
as
you
well just do
testify.
this, just in case.
Are you testifying as a press or individual or what?
I'm the press, so I don't need to, I just have a couple of points to make. I'm not going to ask questions. Whatever you want me to do, I'll swear in. You want me to swear in?
I'll swear you in, I guess.
Swear her in.
You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth and proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. And you're Jenny Derrick?
Jenny Derricks, Tappan to Sparta.
And Jenny, 5 minutes or less if you're so kind.
It should be less than that.
Okay, thank
The Economic Development District Ordinance Purpose Statement includes a statement that the uses are to be in a campus-like setting. An 8-foot fence with a 20-foot opening, unless you're at a prison, doesn't appear to be a campus-like setting. And other applications have had to go through that standard. To add to what the previous speaker said, according to the crash data analysis done by the chief spanning 2021 through the mid-2024, 4 of the roads that are listed in their circular traffic pattern are in the top 10 for crashes in that time period. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Good evening, Beth. If you could give your name and address to
Sure.
the secretary.
Beth Broderick, North Shore Trail, Sparta.
Beth, how do you spell your last name?
Broderick.
And Beth, if you're so kind too, 5 minutes or less.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you.
I'm
A little
kind
bit
of,
got to the microphone.
Beth,
so
are
we
you
can
going to
record
testify
everything.
or you just
Yeah.
ask questions? Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth and proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
yes.
Go ahead.
And I kind of want to expand on what Gail and Jenny said because I have the numbers. From January 1st of 21 to June 15th of 2024 on Woodport Road, which is 181, there were 132 accidents. Sparta Junction, which is 517, was 63. Sparta Avenue, which is 517 at one point, was 118. Sparta Avenue, which is also 181, was 53. Route 15 from the Jefferson line up to Sparta was 218. And then if you expand it, because Newton and Andover were mentioned, if you look at Newton, Sparta Avenue, which is 616, I believe it goes from Quick Check out, there were 68, including a fatality where, or 3 fatalities where a driver was distracted, went across the yellow line and killed 3 people, and then he died. So I just want to point that out. I drive home on 181 because 517, which is the bypass, backs up. Now, I live on North Shore. I don't know if you're familiar with Lake Mohawk or not, but North Shore is between Reverend Brown and the intersection of the new 7-Eleven and Sparta Pharmacy. I cannot get out of my road from 7:30 in the morning until about 8:39 because there's also Kiddie Academy. So I get rush hour traffic, I get school buses, I get all the soccer moms. You can't get out of South Shore, so everybody goes on to North Shore. We can't get out. Then when you do the reverse and you're going from Reverend Brown, Pope John, Alpine, Kiddie Academy, and you're heading up to Route 15, plus you get the commuter traffic, you cannot go from the Catholic Academy of Sussex County, is that what they're calling it now? Whatever, the school's there in the church. You can't go from there past Route 15 on the 517 bypass. Okay, and if you're coming from the other direction, you have the high school, and I can pull up the West Mountain accidents at 517. You have the middle school, you have the 2 schools out there. Okay, that does not include Mohawk Avenue or Helen Morgan because they're a little bit outside the periphery. The question that I have is if you guys are coming from Newton and Andover, you guys mentioned, I believe, going out 517 onto Route 15 to come south to go to Blue Heron and make the right turn in. Why are you committing to saying 100% we're not going through Sparta on 517 Newton Sparta or the Sparta Avenue or any of that? Because like Mr. Steinberg said, it's a hot freaking mess. You can't get through there, you're asking for trouble. We have the numbers, I can forward the report, you can open it, whatever.
Excuse me, Beth, you could respond, Mr. Keller?
Yeah, one thing, the single unit trucks, go out by 7 o'clock in the morning. And if they're going to Newton, they're gonna go up on Sparta Avenue, make the left onto, well, continue out 517 where it becomes Newton Sparta Road at the Quick Check. They're already on those roads. They're already servicing those customers out there from where, they're not doing it from this site because they can't operate here, but they're already servicing the Shell station, the Performance Tires up in Hampton on 206. They're already there, but they're out there early and they're driving around. The main difference as far as this operation, one is that they're a lot closer to where they're starting and getting on those roads sooner. But we're talking about the tractor trailers where they take the tires after they pick them up at the various shops and put them in a tractor trailer. Then they leave. That's the one difference. But they're already servicing all the
Okay, but
users that are on that list and traveling those roads. I agree that
they're not
those
coming
roads
from.
are busy.
Okay, hang on. They're not coming from a very dangerous intersection where you have people whipping around, because I do this and a couple of times a week, coming off 15, going Route 15 speeds of, it's technically 55, but nobody does 55 on that road. Coming off the first exit, going around, coming through, you have people trying to make a left turn to go towards Tomahawk Lake. Okay, they're inching out into a road where it goes from 2 lanes down to 1, right in that general area, right by the parking lot.
Narrows from 2 lanes
Okay.
to 1, closer to,
It's still
well
coming.
past this site.
You also have, because I did this today on my way here, you have people coming off of Route 15, 15 North, to make a left turn into the area where, towards Tomahawk Lake. You have people at a stop sign trying to get across there.
Excuse me, Beth,
Here's my concern, okay?
try to finish up.
Okay,
We might
yeah, I
have
am.
other people's and we're getting a
Yeah,
little
that's
bit
fine.
late.
But my thing is, you are now coming and going from a bad intersection. And you're saying, okay, they're already, and it's not just the tractor trailers, it's the box trucks as well. We had to put a 4-ton weight restriction on North Shore Trail because the box trucks were cutting through at 6:30 in the morning. I'm not gonna say it was you guys, whoever, but my concern again is, you have on the span from the new 7-Eleven by the United Methodist Church down to the jug handle, you've got ball fields, you've got an apartment building that may or may not be going in, you've got dairy, like at Sparta here, you've got a lot of activity there with the documented accidents. You've got documented accidents on Sparta Avenue or Newton Sparta, you've got everything there. How are you guys going to mitigate that when we have documented issues and traffic volume? You guys mentioned pre-COVID numbers. These are 2021 to 2024. These are after COVID, and it's only going to get worse.
Okay, thank you, Beth. Just a quick response, Mr. Keller, then, if any. Thank you, Beth.
Of all the uses that could be using this property, this is about as low intensity as you possibly could get.
All right, thank you.
Chairman, can I address that?
No, let the
We
public
just
have a
have
chance.
some public.
Ken, just 1 second. I think we have 2 other applicants sitting
Can we
behind this.
make the announcements? Or will not
I
have to
think
get to
we
them?
ought to do something so these poor people aren't waiting.
Right.
If,
Thank
certainly
you.
for the last one, Mr. Chairman.
Just a moment. What's your name?
Joanne
Just a
Scally.
moment, Joanne. So the applications, 7-25 Woodport LLC, and also application 10-25 Ella Property Partnerships. We will not be getting to hearing your applications tonight.
Okay, and
So what about the next dates and the carry forward? Forward and so
November
forth?
12th.
November 12th, is there any meeting we could have?
Why don't we do something in October, the fourth Wednesday of the month, if the applicants can attend then for these applications?
You're looking at the 22nd of October,
October, correct.
we have anything for that?
No, just for November.
Now, the applicants' attorneys are here too, if those dates are fine for both applications. Wait, can you come forward to the microphone? So Joanne, if you can step aside a moment.
I'm gonna cut the line, I think. Linda Hurley, I'm here on behalf of the Heller Property Partners application. October 22nd works for us, right? Yes. Matt's always here, I think. So yeah, that works.
All right, and Linda, just check that day and find out, or just check and see what the agenda is, because Todd has an application that he's probably somewhat done with, but he's ahead of you
But he's ahead
anyway.
of me. Okay,
Thank you.
will do. Thank you very much.
you're
All right, so for the record, your application, which is the Heller application, is going to be carried to October 22nd, no further public notice being required. Thank you for
Apologize
being
the
patient.
for the delay, unfortunately.
I
All right.
understood. Thank you.
Sir?
Mr. Hooker, what do you got?
We're available on the 22nd. It sounds like Matt's going to be here anyway. He just said thinks he's available. He's our planner as well. Was he the other one? Yeah, yours too? Okay. So good, yeah. It'll be easy to do.
All right.
Any,
All right.
no further notice?
No further notice? I don't think we need an extension, but if we do, you'll give us one, Todd?
Yes.
I think it's within the 120 days.
I think so. Yeah.
If not, you'll give us a letter. Don't worry about it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Todd. All right,
Okay,
so
ju-
for the public, those applications are not going to be heard tonight. They will be heard on October 22nd, okay?
Okay, Joanne, give your
Joanne
full
Scally.
name and address, please,
Seneca Lake Road, Sparta, New Jersey.
and your last name?
Pardon me?
Your last name?
Scally, S as in Sam, C as in cat, A-L-L-Y.
And you want to swear her?
Yeah, Joanne,
In,
do you
please.
swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth that proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
Five
I've been,
minutes or less, Joanne, if you're so kind.
pardon me?
5 minutes or less, if
Okay.
you're so kind.
I've been a resident for close to 35 years. I raised my kids here. My kids, 2 boys, are still living here with 3 grandchildren, well, 4 really. He's off and on in the Navy. And I go on that road daily, multiple times over these 35 years, and that is a bad, bad area. And I see no benefit to the town of Sparta for this to be there. An 8-foot corrugated metal fence is terrible. It doesn't belong anywhere in Sparta, not even in industrial area. If you go down Aaron Way, the buildings are beautiful. Wilson Drive, buildings are beautiful. 8-foot, welcome to Sparta. That's the main entrance into Sparta. It is not a remote area like the planner says. The land across the street is for sale, and it backs up to residential, and I'm assuming if they do sell it, it's going to be residential. Who wants to stare at an 8-foot fence? And if you go back to 2018, 2019, there was a trucking company, Sinai Trucking. They had illegal dumping, non-permissible use, but they still did it. And they sold the soil to unsuspecting customers in Sparta. It was terrible. It was unpermitted use, but they still did it. Now we have an 8-foot fence you can't even see through. What goes on behind closed doors? Who knows? Anything can go on. There's sensitive properties back there, and you can say you're not going to do it. I trust no one. I learned with Sinai, it kept going on and on and on. And it was so hard to stop it, even with the DEP involved, and they got over a $500,000 fine. Who's to stop them? And then you said they're not going to be sitting outside. You could have water in there. They're sitting outside at the gas stations, and all you need is a little bit of water for tons of mosquitoes. And like I said, I travel that all the time. It is so dangerous in my car, and I do not see tractor trailers. Then when you're coming down that curvy road, coming down Glen Road, how many accidents where the truck lost their brakes? Are we going to have that? There's buses stopping, kids crossing all along Woodport Road, going up Sport Avenue, kids crossing along the Dairy Queen, running across. And box trucks, this is not like a small 14-foot box truck. You said it's a U-30. That's a Pepsi truck. That's a big truck. So it's not a small little box truck that people are thinking in their heads. This is a big, giant Pepsi truck. It does not belong there. It does not belong anywhere in Sparta with the 8-foot fence. So that's my thing. It's just a dangerous
Okay,
location. And another thing with Sergeant Smith, I know they do traffic studies. He didn't just pull 55 miles an hour out of the air. He did a traffic study, and it came up with that. But they did traffic studies on my street because people complained about the speed. And I know people come fast because you got to be really careful to get out of there. So I just beg you, please don't
You're
bring
welcome,
this to
Joanne.
Sparta.
Thank you.
Thank
too.
you.
Thank you. Anyone else in
One
the
more
public?
thing. With the tractor trailers, let's say they get on fire in there. What happens with a trailer load of truck tires? I was looking that up. You can't do anything but pile dirt on it. They're almost, and by then, the air is all polluted. So again, please vote no.
Okay, Joanne, thank you. Please give your name and address to the
Hi.
secretary.
My name is Patty Parisi, Parise. I live at 6 South Orchard Terrace in Lake Saginaw. I'm Gail's neighbor. And I won't take up much of your time except
You
I,
won't yet.
What?
You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
I do.
Go ahead, Patty.
So I
5
just,
minutes or less, if you're so kind, like you
I'll
said.
just be 2 minutes. I just wanted to kind of pile on my concerns with Gail and Joanne about the traffic, about the U-turn, about the trucks illegally turning around there. It is a big wide space at the end of Saginaw Drive. So I'm concerned about that. I'm concerned about the school buses because they do pull in there and then pull out. And also I'm concerned about the expansion of the business if the business is successful and they take on more tires and they want a bigger building. They want more trucks. There's more activity, more employees. Does that have to be approved? I know I heard that the building must be approved, but if they have more trucks in there, who's going to be monitoring that? So if you vote yes, it seems like it's going to be, nobody's going to be monitoring and just don't want all the traffic going through there, going through town. And that's it. Thank you for hearing
All
me.
right, thank you so much. Anyone else in the public?
Yeah, Mike Devine, Oak Parkway, Sparta.
You-
Want to swear me because I'm not sure what the nature of my comments will be, questions or
Mike,
whatever.
do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth? and
Yes, I
proceed-
do.
Mike, I'm not done yet. Put your hand back up, please. I'm serious about this. This is an oath. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir,
proceedings
I do.
before the board tonight?
Yes,
And Mike,
How do you spell your last name, Michael?
Devine.
Thank you.
Mike, if you're so kind, as you know the drill, 5 minutes or less, thank you so much.
I'll do my best. Some of this might be slightly redundant, but I think it might be worthwhile for some emphasis. I took notes during the dialogue. I share the concern about, and I'm not an expert on zoning or D variances, but if we approve a category of D variance and that continues ad infinitum, I don't want to see us get involved in a battle as to what else that could be introduced. I've heard the last time or this time, I think you've used the word transfer site numerous times. It seems now that maybe we're not clear exactly what this is. I got a question from somebody who I think is watching on the TV or whatever it is. Why is this not a trucking terminal or cross-docking, which is defined and prohibited by ordinance? Do we agree that it is not those things? I think that clearly this isn't a transfer operation. I don't know what else you would call it. And this is I think we talked a little bit about this. The tires that are being collected, how are they being collected now? Is this business already operating and picking up tires in Sparta? Why do they need to relocate to this location? What % of the tires that you pick up come actually from Sparta? We've talked about what's the benefit to the town of Sparta? I see virtually none. I see all kinds of ambiguity and potential serious problems, safety. I also view this as the gateway to our town, one of the gateways coming off of 15. First thing I see is an 8-foot fence. That doesn't sound very appealing to me. I'm not sure if there are intangible aspects to considering a D variance, but I think there are many intangible aspects to this that would rule against granting the variance. And another thing is why, and this may not be proper for the board to consider, but why would you have to pick this location? Obviously, you want to ask access to 15, but the single unit trucks or whatever you call them, if they're just going to be going through town to pick up the tires, take them somewhere else outside of town so you don't have to have the tractor trailers go through town. I don't understand why this site has to be picked. I really feel like we're shoehorning this use into a place where it's inappropriate for a number of reasons, maybe largely safety and aesthetics. And to say that they're state roads, I guess strictly speaking, they're state highways and presumably are designed to accommodate this kind of traffic. To say Woodport Road and these other roads are not local roads, I think is specious at best. They're clearly heavily used by local people for local purposes. To combine this kind of traffic with those local roads, even if it's strictly allowed by the state regulations, I think is taking in the wrong direction. The things Mr. LaRouche has said, I couldn't agree more to the kind of things you said. The whole intent of 15, et cetera, to take things away from the local roads, we're going the opposite direction. And it would set a precedent that I would be very concerned about. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I think there was one more, two individuals there. Again, I'd like to get everyone in here tonight, so keep your comments to, please keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, and try not to be so redundant, because again, we're looking at the clock here. We don't have much time left, and we would like to get to vote on this application tonight. Your name, please?
Kathy Ebenhausen,
Your
Kathy?
address to the secretary, please, Kathy?
Sparta.
I didn't get your last name, I'm sorry.
Ebenhausen, Ebbinkhuysen.
Kathy, do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in the proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Kath.
First question, I'm not sure if it was addressed, but why was Mr. Oler replaced for this application?
Can you speak a little bit closer to the microphone, please, Kathy?
Not really.
But
But I can try.
Take that, you can
Why
take
was-
that off.
Dave, make the mic a
David,
little
you can
shorter.
help her a minute?
Make the
David?
mic a
I
little
got
shorter.
it. Thank you. Why was Mr. Oler replaced for this application?
He declined to continue because he felt he may have conflict. It wasn't clear yet.
Can you speak into the microphone, please?
As he related it to me, he did not want to represent the client. He felt, he felt he may have a conflict. It could be a close call. Not that he did legally, but to err on the side of caution, he said, I think you should get a different attorney.
Okay.
Hence me.
Thank you. In previous testimony, it was mentioned that there is no third-party goods being transferred. And there was question around who owns the tires when they're picked up. That was supposed to be followed up on, so I'm here to follow up on that question.
Once we pick up the tires, we take ownership of the tires.
Okay, thank you. I take exception with the characterization that, you know, a D1 is not is a minor application, and that was stated earlier. Just to note that. What is the propane tank for?
House heating, and it was already there for cooking.
The material of the fence, it's corrugated.
We're obviously flexible on the material of the fence. We suggested something we thought was reasonably aesthetic. It is essentially perpendicular to the road, so it's going to be quite difficult to see, we think, but we're totally open on a different sort of fence.
Would you characterize that as a campus-like setting for the existing material proposed?
Given the nature of this site as it's developed now, I think that's reasonable.
Okay. Is there any hardship if you're compelled to use the property in conformity with the permitted uses of the zone as it stands today?
That's not the legal standard that the board has to follow here. The question is, under the Medici standards, is the site particularly suitable for the proposed use? And then there's a case called Children's Institute that says, well, we have to compare that to the other things that are permitted. And your governing body has said warehousing, fabrication. I think the board recognizes something will be there. Something is going to be there. Your governing body has said warehouses, fabrication, manufacturing is okay in some form.
Okay, Mr. Schlow, we understand.
Chairman, my
We
time is
understand that.
small.
Your next point, Kathy, please.
Yes. Can you, since I can't really see the diagram, can you describe the activity of bringing the tractor trailer into the lot? The pictures that were circulated show trucks end to end. And I'm trying to understand, given the size of the lot there on the left, how that is to occur. Is there enough space for a tractor trailer to be able to pull in make what I would consider a K-turn to be able to butt back into another truck?
The tractor trailer is headed in this location on the northwest corner of the site. Tractor trailer is parked here. The single unit truck will pull into the site and back up to the tractor trailer.
Okay, but the tractor trailer has to be able to get into position, right?
The tractor trailer will be parked in this location. The cab of the tractor trailer is at the north end. The
Okay.
trailer is behind it. Where the loading will occur will be on the south end of that truck. The single unit truck will back up, pull in this way and back up so that the back of the single unit truck is against the tractor trailer.
Okay.
It will then, they will take the trucks, keep doing it. It's like the
Eric,
pork-
you answered her questions. He already said okay.
Okay, so in order for that trailer to leave, is there enough space for that trailer to maneuver to leave the site, or does it have to back out?
And this was submitted to the board. This is sheet 1 of 2 of the vehicle turning plan, WB 62, that was prepared by my office. The tractor trailer will back out of that space across the front of the building and then pull forward onto Woodport Road. All the backing maneuver is wholly contained within the site.
Okay.
Any
Considering,
more questions, Kathy? Again, we'd like to vote on this tonight.
I'm not done with my 5 minutes,
I know-
Mr.
okay.
5
Chair.
minutes and 18 seconds. I don't know what battery you got.
So, again, we'd like to vote on it. And-
So is the public able to ask questions?
Yes, but there's a limit to the point when we say
Is there a
5
limit
minutes
though,
or less.
Mr. Chair?
Excuse me?
Is there a limit?
5 minutes or less.
So you
You made a lot
said,
of good points and a lot of what
but
you're
I'm not
mentioning.
done.
How much more do you have? Once again, we have to put a limit on it, Kathy.
I understand.
How much more do you have, though, if you can figure with the time that you have there?
Okay. Is it true that this application has a total of 11 variances requested, including pre-existing, and bulk variances?
I don't know the precise count. I haven't
David and,
counted up.
Lindsay
It's
are
certainly all
planners now.
listed in the review letters.
The number of variances doesn't matter. It's a use variance, and they all get subsumed in anyway, but it's a number of variances is the answer.
I think it's around 11.
Okay.
So, and that's just based on what I read. Given the grade of Woodport Road into Winona, it was talked about earlier, there's been some challenges in town with the Mavis, being that it's a similar grade over on Glen Road. There is a concern with children. That is an active area. It's the town center, right, where our movie theater is. This is an active area of town. So I guess the point is, has the grade been considered for, runaway trucks and such in your calculation?
An existing condition that every truck on that road has to face, so no, not for this application.
Okay. Let me just see if I have one more for you.
Good, Kathy?
I guess I'm good since you're rushing me, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
I'm not, I apologize, but there's one individual left, I think, and.
My topics have largely been covered.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Let's move along.
Thank you, sir. And your name and address to the secretary, please?
Adrian Meerman, 12 Brook Drive.
Adrian, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth in the proceedings before the board tonight, so help you God?
I do.
And how do you spell your last name, Adrian?
Meerman.
And Adrian, as you notice with everyone else, please keep it brief and under
will.
5 minutes so we can vote
Yeah,
on this application.
most of my points have been asked about.
Oh, all right, thank you.
It's just something about the hours of operation. We started out with 7 to 4. It became expanded to 7 to 5 to accommodate the returning trucks from Lakewood and Fleetwood, Pennsylvania. That Fleetwood, Pennsylvania, is that the Fleetwood between Reading and Allentown? Yeah, so that is, the way I drive here, that's 2.5 hours when I go in my sports car each way. How long does it take to unload your truck in Fleetwood?
We just drop and hook an empty trailer. We don't.
And then you hook up an empty trailer
Yeah.
and you drive that one back? Yeah, I'm just concerned about the hours of operation. If you leave at 2 o'clock, say, in
Adrian,
between,
don't waste your time on that. The
1
board
and
will
3,
take, the board will take care of that issue.
you'll
If
come
they're going to
back
approve it, they'll
way
take care of it.
after 4 or 5 o'clock, meaning it will become in the wintertime partly a nighttime operation. I don't know what kind of lighting would be required for safety at that point, but it's something that the lighting has not been thoroughly addressed. And I think sooner or later it has to be addressed. Right now it is a rural entrance to Sparta, and it will be turned potentially into an industrial entrance to Sparta. Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian, for your comments. Seeing no one else in the public has any comments or questions, I'll come back to the board. The board members have any other questions or comments before I ask for a motion?
Chairman, no chance to address any of that? Not your procedure.
Excuse me?
Would there be a chance to address any of the comments? I'll be less than 2 minutes.
Okay,
I want to address Mr. Steinberg.
but
Matt,
2 minutes or less, Ms.
Matt
Mrs. Sullivan.
suggested we could call it, if the board is insistent upon a name, but I think the operations testimony was clear, a collection facility for tires entirely within vehicles, maybe a name of the use, but I think the testimony was clear. Chairman, one of the members of the public referred to this kind of traffic. This kind of traffic. But the clear testimony here is that the traffic is minimal and less than any other use, virtually. Even if there was a restaurant, and there was a restaurant here in its history, there would be truck traffic, there'd be a delivery vehicle. So I am really asking the board to think deeply about what the evidence is on the negative criteria, because that was the big focus here. Your governing body has said warehouses, fabrication, whatever size, there could be, by right, much more traffic. I'm going to say this is a benefit because he's producing a use that has significantly less, not this kind of massive traffic. Sure, there's accidents and there's other traffic, but this is an incredibly low generator. And as a percentage, no one will ever know the difference. One truck, one large truck, every other day benefits to the community.
So we understand that.
Okay, thank you,
completely.
Chairman. I appreciate the
Don't want to
latitude.
get into the redundancy of it, but we
I
understand what you're
appreciate the
saying is covered.
Chairman, it's obviously, it's my client's business and livelihood are at stake here. He owns the property. I know that's
Okay.
not a factor, but it's his business and livelihood. And I think there's a fundamental, mistaken,
Okay, we understand. that.
exaggerated condition about this kind of traffic. The
Okay.
undisputed testimony is that it's safe and that it's a low generator.
Okay, you made your point, Mrs. Skolnick.
I appreciate that.
it, thank you. The chair will entertain a motion approving Lee Truck and Tire application.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to have the board attorney draft a resolution approving application number 6-23 for Elite Truck and Tire LLC, Block 2004, Lot 1 at 409 Woodport Road, seeking C variances for lot area ratio for parking, front yard of 36% where a maximum of 25% is permitted, maximum fence height of 8 feet where 6 foot is required, or permitted, I should say. Some existing non-conforming variances for lot area of 51,086 square feet where a minimum of 80,000 square feet is required, front yard of 72 feet where 100-foot minimum is required, rear yard of 21.3 feet where a minimum of 50 feet is required, maximum impervious coverage of 43.5% where 40% max is required, parking area enclosure with no curbing where 6-inch curbing is required, and a D use variance for a tire business which is not permitted use in the ED zone. with conditions outlined in the applicant's submitted exhibit, number 1 through 20. I'm not going to read them all, but everybody knows what we're
Yeah.
talking about, except item number 20 has been modified to be 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. All stipulations outlined in the HPA. Mr. Simmons's report, notably resurfacing the entire parking lot, not just patching it. No subcontractors or any other drop-off of tires or other materials to the site other than direct employees of Elite Truck and Tire. Only permitted materials to be transferred are tires. No residential uses in the building. It's for office purposes only. Submission of an as-built drawing. All vehicles and trailers on site are properly registered by the NJDOT. Some clarification or confirmation from NJDEP on the approval of this facility for transfer station or this use at the address, at the applicable address, and according to all plans, representations, and testimony tonight. I think I got all that.
Did you cover there? And then, of course, the permits that David had mentioned in his report. But, David, did we need the variance for the fence height too? Yeah, you
I
do.
did mention
You
that.
did mention that? All right,
I
I'm
did,
sorry.
yeah. No, it's okay.
Do we have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? Marissa, please call the roll.
Michael Josephic,
No.
Richard LaRufa,
No.
Michael Leondi,
No.
Richard Rohrbacher,
No.
Jennifer Pranaha,
No.
Michael Steinberg,
No.
Chairman Kenneth Larry.
No. Unfortunately, Mrs. Schullick, your application for the variance has been denied. But
Appreciate your time.
oh, thank you for all your input, et cetera. Anyone in the audience have any questions or comments on items not on the agenda tonight? Okay, close the chair and entertain a motion to adjourn. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.